What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope the days that you are having are going fantastic. But if you are having a good day, if you could do me a favor and press the like button, it helps out the channel a ton. And if you don't press the like button, then no joke, no scam. Your iPhone will be hacked by the Saudi Arabian government, and then your phone will begin fracking for oil underneath your house. Yeah, that's right, guys, so press the like button. On a real note, though, today I had one of the weirdest stories that I've ever had told to me. I was at a friend's house, and he still lives at home, and we were just, like, playing Xbox, chilling on the couch, hanging out, and his little brother gets home from school, and his mom is right behind him, and he's like, go ahead, tell your brother and Ryan what you got in trouble for today at school. And he looks at me, and he looks at the floor, and this kid is probably, like, a freshman in high school, maybe 8th grade freshman in high school, I'm not really sure, somewhere around there. And he goes, I got in trouble because we helped a kid steal his ex-girlfriend's dog. And I'm like, wait, you guys did what? You helped a kid steal his girlfriend's dog? Yeah, well, basically, we didn't know he was gonna steal the dog, but we were gonna help him because we owed him one, and then he stole the dog, and we got in trouble for it. And I'm like, hold up. You did the 911 run and done, stealing everything on a dog that you didn't know you were gonna steal? He's like, yeah. And I immediately knew that I needed the story, so I was like, hey man, what's the sitch, what's the scoop, Kim Possible, call me, beat me, if you want to reach me type beat. And he said, yeah, sit down, I'll let you know. So we're gonna take a look at the most significant heist of all time, Sly Cooper levels of thievery with a stolen dog that ended in disaster. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Oh, but if you really like the channel and you want to support it, you should get the No Joke, No Scam merch link in the description below. Okay, let's get into the video. Anyways, so I guess that my brother's friend has some stuff that he does at school that needs to be covered up. And they have a friend that, well, not a friend, someone that they know that happens to be a hall monitor. And he's kind of a weird kid, but he always gets them hall passes. He always gets them the ability to, you know, get out of trouble. Like, he kind of has ways of letting them out of class to go do things that they need to do. So they're obviously nice to the guy because he's nice to them. The only problem is, the kid's a little bit weird, alright? Anyone who's like, I want to be a hall monitor probably is a little bit weird and likes rules too much, but whatever, as long as it gets the job done, no big deal. So, one day they're going about their business and they're like, alright, we need to get out of class so we can go get this done. So, the hall monitor, they walk out, one of them gets a hall pass and goes to the hall monitor and says, hey, can you get us some passes so we can leave class? And the hall monitor, you know what he does? You know what this man does? He says, you know, man, I'm just having a really rough day. I don't really have the energy to lie right now. But if you help me go say goodbye to my ex-girlfriend's dog, I'll give you this entire stack of hall passes. And keep in mind that this stack of hall passes is basically enough for them to go the entire year without ever having to ask to get out of class again, which is a huge benefit, you know? Like, when you're trying to get up to no good in school, the most annoying thing is teachers being like, hey, why aren't you where you're supposed to be? But if you have a stack of hall passes, then you're golden forever. So, it's a no-brainer, dude. We just have to let you, you know, say goodbye to your girlfriend's dog. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. We'll just, like, go. So he says, okay, let's go get everyone. So, they get everybody out of class with the hall monitor, which is, it's so weird that they have like a corrupt hall monitor at this school. This sounds like a mafia story. So the cop let us smuggle stuff over the bridge. There's like a hall monitor taking bribes. And he says, all right, my ex-girlfriend lived across the street. And he tells him this sad story about how basically him and his ex had been dating for 3 years, and she had gotten this dog when it was a puppy, and he had watched it every weekend, and he had like taken care of it when they were on vacations, and he would see the puppy every weekend because they would hang out all the time. And I guess he was super close with the dog, and he just wanted to say goodbye. And everyone's like, all right, you know, I love my dog, I can get it, okay, but we'll just get you into your ex-girlfriend's backyard. You can say goodbye to the dog, and then we're good. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? No problem at all. None. So they get across the street. To his ex-girlfriend's house, and he's like, all right, guys, I'll be right back. So this group is standing on like the side of the house while he goes in the backyard. And about 15 seconds later, he comes running back around the corner with the dog in his hands and says, run, run, run. And they start taking off, and they hear footsteps and get back here with the dog. But it sounds like an older man, bro. So they start running, and they get around the corner, and they're like, what did you do? He goes, I have the dog. Like, why did you take the dog? He's like, I was saying goodbye, but I didn't want to say goodbye, so I started crying, and then her grandpa, who I didn't know was home, heard me crying while I was saying goodbye to the dog, but I wasn't ready to stop saying goodbye, and he was yelling at me, telling me to get out, and so I just grabbed the dog and I ran. And they're like, what do you mean you stole the dog and you ran? Like, you stole the dog and you booked it? He's like, yeah, I wasn't done saying goodbye. And they're like, well, it doesn't matter if you're done saying goodbye, because now her grandpa, who probably knows who you are if you live with them, just saw you run out with the dog, dude. Run out with the dog in the middle of the day. What do you think? Like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And he's like, I don't know, but you guys need to help me. And they're like, no, we're not gonna help you now. We're done. Our work here is done, dude. We got you across the street. We got you to the dog. You're the idiot that stole it. Give us the hall passes. We're done. And he's like, no, I'm not giving you the hall passes unless you help me with the dog. And keep in mind, you're across the street and you just, basically help me steal the dog. So if I go down, I'll take you guys down with me. I'm a snitch. I'm a fed. I ain't even afraid, bro. I'm not afraid to snitch on all of you. We're all going down for stealing this dog if I go down for stealing the dog, and you're not getting the hall passes. So he blackmails my my friend's little brother and his friends into being like, okay, fine, whatever. We'll help you. We'll help you get the dog back in the house. Like, what's the best way to do it? If we get the dog back in the house, the grandpa will be like, oh, he came and stole the dog. And then they'll be like, you stole the dog? And the dog will be home and he'll look like a crazy person, right? And he's like, yeah, okay, that works. He said, how old's our grandpa? And he's like 86. Perfect. That's old enough to blame for, forgetting, like, maybe thinking that somebody took the dog, but nobody took the dog. I don't know. What do 86-year-olds do? I'm not 86. I have no idea. But for whatever reason, they convince themselves that this is going to work because everyone who turns 86 apparently just imagines your granddaughter's ex-boyfriend stealing your dog. That's just a common, dream of old people for whatever reason in this world. So anyways, they go and they sneak back around to the house and they can hear the grandpa yelling in his room about how that kid was in here trying to steal the dog. So they open the side gate and obviously the grandpa hears it. He goes, oh my God, they're in the backyard. So they put the dog in the backyard, they slam the gate and they take off running. And by the time the grandpa gets around the corner, they're gone. They're running back to the school. They're like, so they get back, right? And so they all go back to class and they're like, oh, thank God. We're good. Everything's good. No big deal. And so for the next 2 hours of school, they're like, all right, we got our hall passes. They get the hall passes from the kid. We're good. We're done. It's over. There's no way that anything happens. Now, we put the dog back. The kid isn't going to get in trouble. And if he does, he won't snitch on us because we helped him put the dog back. That was the deal. The only problem is when a kid is saying that he's willing to snitch on you to get what he wants, it means if he does get in trouble at all, he's probably going to sing like a canary because, his ex-girlfriend's house, this moron forgot to mention when he was like, I need help getting to the house, right? There's security cameras on the house. So the entire thing is on security camera. So obviously the parents are pissed because their 86-year-old dad has to chase around these kids that wanted to say goodbye to the dog. So they call the school. So the school calls the hall monitor kid up and, they're like, what did you do? So he cracks under pressure instantly. And obviously the security footage shows the rest of them. And they're like, who are these boys? So he tells them, and so they all get called up to the office, and all of them, are usually in trouble. So the office pretty much believed it the second they heard the names. They were like, yep, those are the type of kids that you would talk to in the case of trying to get away with grand theft puppy. And this kid and his friends, they're pretty close, and I'm pretty close with them, and the guy whose house I was at is a pretty close friend of mine. So his little brother I've known since he was in 4th grade, right? And he's always been hanging out with us whenever we're over there, and our strict code is you get your story together and you shut up and you stick to your story, and they've got nothing. So him and his friends get their story together, and they're getting questioned and they're sticking to their story and they're getting interrogated. They're like, we have security footage of you boys doing this, and they're just sticking to their story in the face of security footage with them in it. They're still lying. And so we're trying to tell him after the fact now, when he's telling us this, listen, man, sticking to your story doesn't work if they have a videotape of you doing the crime. I very much appreciate your thoughts of we can't get in trouble if none of us snitch, Hey, if none of us snitch, then it's impossible for us to get in trouble. But if they have video evidence of you breaking the rules and doing what you're getting accused of, then you change your tune, okay? This is when you apologize and you try to get out of as much trouble as humanly possible by acting like you're a really good kid, all right? This is not the right time. So whatever. They're denying it in the security camera footage. And so they're like, well, we could arrest you guys. And my friend's little brother's like, well, no, you couldn't, because we never went in your house. We literally stood on the side yard while that kid broke into the house and touched the dog and put the dog back. We had nothing to do with it. We never went in your, we did not go in your backyard. We didn't go in your house. That didn't happen. So whatever. They're like, okay, well, you know, you guys are going to be in serious trouble for this. Obviously, he's going to lose his hall monitor spot. And so they're like, oh, dang it. That sucks. Now we can't get up to no good. Oh, no. Our days of getting in trouble are over because he's not going to be a hall monitor anymore because he left class to go steal his ex-girlfriend's dog during a school day. What a tragic event. So they basically don't really get in trouble. They get 3 days of in-school suspension, which is trouble, but like that's the least trouble ever. You still go to school. You just sit in one classroom all day. It's boring, but in the grand scheme of things, not that bad because all they could really get them in trouble for was leaving the school grounds. Like they really didn't do anything except stand there, you know? So obviously his mom is pissed that he got in-school suspension and did that, but he's kind of like, I made out easy. I get in-school suspension for 3 days, and I have a story about how a kid literally made me be an accomplice to him stealing his girlfriend's dog when he lied to us about what we were doing there. And my one question is, for the hall monitor guy, what were you even thinking, dude? Like, let's say you stole the dog, and you were like, I'm gonna keep it. The grandpas saw you. They would go to your house and see the dog. Not to mention, you would have to get the dog back to school and take care of it all day. Like, this plan was never going to work. I don't understand why he grabbed the dog. That just makes the least amount of sense of what you could possibly do in that scenario. All right, man, I want to steal my ex-girlfriend's dog. So I'm going to take it to school and then make sure that someone sees me and they have security cameras. Like, you didn't know that it's just dumb. Regardless, moral of the story is if you're going to get in trouble, at least make sure that somebody else does everything really bad so you only get in-school suspension for 3 days. That's a joke, YouTube. Please don't age restrict my video. Don't steal people's dogs in general. That's my actual life advice. And also, don't get anyone pregnant, and if you do, make sure they're hot. This has been Scrubby. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please be sure to press the like button. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought. If you've made it this far into the video, if you could go ahead and comment the word Rodrigo down below, I would greatly appreciate it. And if you're new, turn on notifications because I give somebody a notification shout out every single day if you send proof to my Instagram at Scrubby. So yeah, today, Gackley, big thank you for having out notifications. I do really appreciate it. As I said, send proof to my Instagram at Scrubby and shout somebody out. And yeah, have a beautiful day. Don't get anyone pregnant if you do, make sure they're hot. And I'll see you guys next time with another video. I'm out. Peace. Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are all having an absolutely fantastic day. I know I am. If you are, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam, you will get eaten by an angry pack of beetles. Yeah, that's right. I've actually trained a pack of beetles to smell when someone hasn't pressed the like button. Their names are Clarence, Tansy, and Jamarcus, and they will hunt you down and eat you unless you press the like button. Anyways, guys, hope you guys are having a good day. My name is Scrubby, and today I have a story for you guys that contains arguably the most amount of stupidity that I've ever heard before, and trust me, I've heard some pretty stupid things. Since I'm the storytime guy on YouTube, most of my friends that are YouTubers kind of come to me and tell me crazy stories because, I don't know, I just like stories or whatever, and a good friend of mine, Dark Dom, came to me the other day and told me he had a story about a kid who got expelled for doing arguably the dumbest thing ever, and when he told me the story, I just knew it would fit perfectly on the channel, so we're gonna be telling you guys the story today. But basically, this kid gets expelled for trying to sniff highlighters in the bathroom. I'm not really sure exactly what his thought process was, okay? It's not every day I wake up in the morning going, you smell that? The sun's out. You know what? I need some fresh highlighter straight up in my nose. I want to shove that highlighter so far up my nose that it's tickling my cerebral cortex on the back of my brain. Like, personally, that's just not something I've ever been into, but apparently kids at Dom's school just really get into the idea of shoving highlighters in their nose. But regardless, guys, it should be a pretty entertaining video nonetheless. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it.
What's up, everyone? Big thanks to Scrubby for letting me on to tell this story. So it all started with this kid named, I guess we'll just call him Eddie for privacy reasons. I don't really think he'd want his name to be public after what I'm about to tell you guys. So yeah, this kid named Eddie, he was always a bit on the odd side. He was kind of that one kid that nobody really talked to, almost because they were like scared of him. He would do a lot of weird things, like one time he ate a cup of butter out of the lunch cafeteria that you're supposed to like put on your baked potatoes. And then someone told him he was gonna get a heart attack and he started crying. So I think you can kind of get the idea of the kind kind of person he was just kind of willing to try anything, not really for any reason in particular. He just kind of liked doing weird stuff. He was like the equivalent of like the oh my god I'm so quirky Visco girls, but just like in a boy form. And obviously, since he was pretty weird, a lot of the kids like to kind of mess with him. People would tell him a lot of random things to do to make him embarrass himself, and for some reason he would just always do them. Even though he probably knew that the people's intention was just to laugh at him, he didn't care. He would just do it anyway. And I never really bullied him that much just because I wasn't really like that. I kind of just didn't really think that was that funny, I guess. But one day I was like, you know what? Why not just mess with this kid a little bit? I mean, I rarely do it. It can't hurt to do it like once or twice. And I had recently heard of this thing where if you would like sniff a highlighter, it would get you high. I didn't know how true it was, but I was like, when I saw it, I'm like, I have to tell this guy. I have to tell him. So one day I went up to him in school and I was like, yo, what's up, Eddie? I wanna tell you something. And he seemed a little bit freaked out because like I said before, I'd never go up to this kid. I'd almost never talk to him. He slowly turned around from whatever he was doing at his desk and he was like, oh, hey, Dom, how you doing? And I was like, hey, Eddie, I know that it might be kind of weird since, you know, we don't talk much. We're not that close, but I just wanted to let you know some fun facts that I found that I feel like you might find interesting. And surprisingly, he seemed pretty interested. I really didn't think he was gonna care much, but honestly, he seemed excited. His whole awkward attitude pretty much immediately left him, and he was like, oh, what? Tell me. I was like, well, Eddie, I heard of a little thing recently where if you sniff highlighter, it gets you high, and I knew that coming to you would just be the best idea because you're the try new stuff guy. He sat there for a considerable amount of time and thought about it, and he's like, all right, do you have a highlighter? I said, yeah, I got one in my locker. I can go grab it for you if you want. He said that would be splendid. So I went out to my locker. I grabbed him a perfectly nice yellow highlighter and ran it back to the classroom to hand him. When I handed him the highlighter, it was weird. He was just like giddy, full of excitement. Just sniff a highlighter, knowing that the things in there would probably give him like brain damage. He really did not care, I'm telling you. I haven't seen him in a while, but I wouldn't be surprised if nowadays he goes around eating trash out of dumpsters, not because it even tastes good to him, just because it's different and it's not something that people do. For good reason, by the way, Mr. Eddie. There are perfectly good reasons why people don't eat trash out of dumpsters. But anyway, I hand him the highlighter kind of like on the low because it would be really weird if I was just like, here's your highlighter to sniff in the bathroom, Eddie, in front of the whole class. Once I give him the highlighter, he raises his hand and he asks the teacher if he can use the bathroom real quick, and he slowly just excuses himself. And this part of the story is where I'm going to let my boy Scrubby take over. If you guys want to check me out, my link will be in the description. I make very funny, epic Reddit videos, so if you're into that, check me out. Alright, thanks again to Scrubby for letting me on, and back to him.
Wow, what a great story. If you guys are enjoying me and Dom, we also have a podcast. I know a lot of you guys comment saying that I should make a podcast, so I did. It's with me, Dom, and another guy named Kyle and Sui. I guess that would be two guys, but if you guys do want to listen to the podcast that we made, I'll put the link in the pinned comment. It's pretty cool. I vibe with it. It's also on Spotify, so you know, if you ever just want something to listen to in the background, you should check it out. Anyways, back to the story. So Eddie dips out to the bathroom, right? Very excited. Some would say glowing, almost like a highlighter in ultraviolet light. Yeah, that's right. I'm getting clever out here dropping these innuendos. Your English teacher is going to make you watch Scrubs videos and be like, now, when he says glowing, what does he mean? And if you're watching this, English teachers everywhere, I mean that he just had a highlighter, all right? It's not that deep. It doesn't have anything to do with his emotional stability, bruh. I hated that in English class when teachers would just be like, oh, what does he mean by blue curtains? I'll know, ho. Maybe the curtains are just blue. Not everything has to be that deep, man. Maybe he just likes the color. Ugh. Okay, that's unrelated. Eddie dips out to the bathroom and doesn't come back for the rest of the class period. And obviously, Dom gets a little bit concerned because he's like, what if this kid is passed out in the bathroom because I gave him a highlighter? Like, I don't want to cause any problems, right? So after class gets out, Dom goes to the bathroom and as you do, starts looking for the man who was sniffing highlighters. And he's in the bathroom and Eddie comes out and a teacher happens to walk in at the exact same time. And they're like, young man, have you been doing anything? And Dom can't really see Eddie's face that well because when the teacher walked in, he just acted like he was going to the bathroom because he didn't want to get in trouble. Like, oh yeah, this teacher's coming in to yell at this kid. Let me get up and defend him. Nah, bro, you're going to be like, oh, I'm not going to get involved in this nonsense. So he pretends like he's peeing and the teacher is like, young man, what were you doing in here? Were you sniffing highlighter? And he hears Eddie go, no, I would never sniff highlighter. And so Dom looks over his shoulder and realizes that Eddie is trying to tell this teacher that he would never sniff highlighter with a face that looks like annotations gone wrong, bruh. Like his face is covered in highlighter. He wasn't just sniffing the highlighter, bruh. It looked like he fought the highlighter. The highlighter turned into an anaconda for 13 seconds and attacked his face. His face is covered in marker, and he has to watch and keep a straight face as Eddie goes, "No, what makes you think I sniffed the highlighter? I really didn't. I have no idea what you're talking about." And the teacher looks at Eddie and he goes, "Look, go look in the mirror." So Eddie goes and looks in the mirror and is like, "Oh yeah, that's it's a religious thing." And the teacher's like, "Oh yeah, what religion says that you should color on your face with a highlighter in the bathroom of school right after a rumor breaks out at our school about what happens when you sniff highlighters?" And he's like, "It's a new religion." And the teacher's like, "Young man, come with me. I can't believe that you would do such immature, unprofessional things in school." Which, I mean, I don't really like when teachers call things unprofessional. Was Eddie kind of stupid to get highlighter all over his face? Absolutely. No one's going to deny that, all right? When you sniff a highlighter, you're supposed to sniff it, not try to fight it and color your face a nice shade of translucent yellow. But unprofessional? You think Eddie wants to be here? You think Eddie decided to come to school today and deal with your crap? Nah. Unprofessionalism counts when you want to be there. The government makes me go to school, okay? Regardless, Eddie's like, "Yeah, okay, we'll go to the office." And so Tom is like, "Oh God, I hope he doesn't snitch. I hope he doesn't snitch," right? And during his next class, he comes to find out that Eddie is getting expelled for sniffing highlighter in the bathroom. And the entire day, Dom is like shaking because he's like, "Oh my God, what if Eddie snitches? I don't want to get in trouble. My parents would kill me." And Eddie, he's as stupid as they come, but I'll tell you what he's not. He ain't a snitch because he doesn't rat on Dom at all. The entire process, they're like, "Did anyone tell you to do this? Did anyone give you the highlighter?" Eddie, nope. And to be fair, I really don't think he would have gotten expelled if it wasn't like his 8th strike that year for doing dumb stuff in the bathroom when he was supposed to be in class. It's not like the teachers came in and went, "Oh my gosh, Eddie, we didn't realize that you were struggling. Can we get you some mental counseling?" No, it was like, "Eddie, you're in the bathroom again, and this time you were sniffing highlighters, dude. How many times do I have to come in here and tell you this is not a jewel room? Relax, Edward." Regardless, he does end up getting in a massive amount of trouble. He gets expelled for sniffing highlighters in the bathroom, and Dom is incredibly nervous that he's gonna snitch. Eddie doesn't snitch, but what Eddie does do is message Dom on Instagram later that night. He goes to his message request on his Dark Dom account, so not his private Instagram with the real names and the school kids. He messages Dark Dom's YouTube account and basically says, "You owe me for not snitching," and sends his PayPal email. So while a lot of you guys were probably like, "Ah, dang, it's super chill of Eddie to not snitch on Dom." Nah, he wasn't not snitching on Dom because he didn't want Dom to get in trouble. He wasn't snitching on Dom so that way he could blackmail him for some YouTube bread. Which makes me feel a lot worse, "Hey, listen, I understand that I did something of my own accord and got highlighter on my face. Now I'm gonna blackmail you for money." And so Dom definitely didn't feel as guilty anymore about the highlighter thing because, getting blackmailed is not a very fun feeling. I don't think anyone's ever been like, "Oh, you know what gets me in the Christmas mood? Getting blackmailed by the mob." Real talk though, Dom did PayPal Eddie though, because say what you want, but taking a bullet like that to not get Dom expelled for distributing highlighters on school premises is a pretty chill thing. So he did PayPal him. So if anyone out there is looking to blackmail Dom, just make sure that he gives you a highlighter in school and that you get expelled and you've basically got yourself a solid chunk of change. On that note, guys, that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to check out Scuffed and Dom. They're both gonna be in the pinned comment. Like and comment if you did enjoy the video. And as always, turn on notifications. Today's notification shout out goes to Sporky Multi. Big shout out to you for having on notifications. If you want a notification shout out, just turn on notifications, send a screenshot to me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter at Scrubby_69. Use code Scrubby at G Fuel checkout and cop yourself some of the freshest Christmas merch in the game. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure you're hot. And hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are all having an absolutely fantastic day. I know I am. If you are, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. A homeless man that you're trying to be nice to will try to fight you in a nice hotel and get all of you kicked out while screaming something about boxing Jesus. Yeah, that was a very specific niche, but as you guys can tell from the title and thumbnail, that's basically what we're going to be talking about today. So I know for a fact you guys are going to enjoy it. Anyways, guys, my name is Scrubby, the story time dude, and today I have a pretty good story for you guys. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Basically, I live in Las Vegas. People who watch my channel a lot probably know that. And I had a friend who had come into town from out of the country, all right? It's a YouTuber. I don't think he's, like, announced that he was on vacation or anything, so I'm not going to leak his identity. But all you got to know is that a friend of mine from the UK was here. And when people come to Vegas, they tend to want to go see the Strip and go do crazy party stuff and all that nonsense. So I was kind of like, yeah, for sure, dude, no problem. We can head down to the Strip. There's no problem with that at all. And the Strip is basically this block of hotels, skyscrapers on either side, where you can basically like party. It's a party block. It's like, imagine skyscrapers the size of a New York office building just down on either side of you with nothing but parties going on. It's a pretty good time. And we were at one of these hotel resort type of things, and my friend smokes. I don't smoke cigarettes. I think it's kind of gross. No offense to my friend who's watching this, but your breath's gonna smell like stank and your breath stinks regardless. But I'm not a smoker, but he wanted to smoke. So outside of these hotels, they have like a little smoking area with an ashtray and everything, and he asked if I would just come stand with him. And obviously I'm not going to tell my friend who came here from England, no, you idiot, you better go stand there alone, you little peasant. So I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever, we're on the Strip, we're having a good time, everything's just chillax, so sure, you know, I'll go stand outside with you while you're smoking. And we're by this pretty upscale hotel resort thing. I'll just say where we were. We're like standing outside of the Bellagio, which is one of the nicer hotel resort areas on the Strip. And if you don't know what that is, that's fine. But for those of you that do, that's the context. So we're standing around this ashtray thing, and he's smoking a cigarette, and we're just talking, having a conversation. I don't even know what we were talking about specifically. We're just talking about nonsense, the way friends do. So as we're standing here and he's smoking his cigarette, a homeless guy walks up to us and starts like digging through the ashtray for looking for like a leftover cigarette that has anything left on it, that way he can smoke it. And if you're desperate enough to be trying to, you know, smoke a used cigarette, you're probably going through a pretty rough time. So my friend, you know, seeing it and me and him just sitting there having a conversation, says, here, man, pulls a cigarette out of his package of cigarettes and gives it to the homeless guy. So the homeless guy starts smoking the cigarette and is just talking to us as my friends is winding down, and he's like, yeah, thank you so much, you guys are nice guys, where are you from? So I'm like, oh yeah, I was born and raised here. My friend's like, oh my, I'm from the UK, we like Harry Potter. So we're just having a conversation. Come to find out, this guy's homeless. He starts telling us how hard it is to find nice people and how most people are pretty mean to him because he's homeless. And like, that sounds rough. I feel like obviously this guy fell upon hard times. That's why he's out here trying to do these things. He starts talking to us about how he hasn't eaten in a few days. And I've got a pretty big heart. Like, I feel bad for the guy, you know? So I'm like, hey man, look, we're about to come to dinner. Why don't you come with us? He was pretty chill. At this point, we've been having a normal conversation for about 5 minutes or so, and nothing seems incredibly out of the ordinary. And I'm like, why don't you come meet with us? It's on me. I'll buy dinner. You don't have to worry about it. And he's like, wow, that's so sweet. Thank you so much. No red flags so far, right? Like, other than the fact that he's a homeless guy upon rough times, I'm thinking, hey, I'll do something nice, you know? We'll have a good time. We'll make a new friend. Everything will be chill. That's what I thought at the time. Things ended up working out a bit differently. So after those two finish up their cigarettes, we start walking back towards the hotel, right? And this should have been a red flag. As we get closer, me and my friend walk in, but the like person by the door, like it wasn't a security guard, but it was somebody that was just kind of keeping an eye on things coming in and out, goes, hey, he's not allowed in here, he's banned. And we're like, oh, okay. In retrospect, that should have been a red flag. To get banned from the Bellagio, you probably have to do some pretty crazy stuff. Like, places in Vegas tend to see some pretty extreme partying. So if you've been banned from a hotel, that's pretty extreme. But at the moment, we had been talking to him, he seemed normal, and we're like, oh, okay, whatever. So we go to a different hotel. We ask him what he wanted, and he said he wanted a burger. He was an older guy, and I was like, well, I know there's a 50s diner at this one hotel basically on the other end of the Strip, so we can Uber there, right? And they're like, yeah, sure. So we Uber, and we walk into this 50s diner, and it's themed like the 50s, everything shaped like the 50s, and the guy's like, ah, sick. Thank you so much. So we get a seat, and he's like, hey, do you guys mind if I drink? And I'm like, well, we're not 21, so we can't buy anything for you. So I'm sorry, but no, like I can't, I'm not 21. I can't buy it. Sorry. Nothing I can do about it. And he's like, okay. So we're sitting down at this table in this 50s restaurant, right? It's full of families, but there's obviously some empty tables every now and then where people had gone. And it's Vegas, so there's drinks on these tables. And after I tell him no and we're not 21, he like rolls his eyes, gets up, and goes over to a table that was now empty, right? Like where people had gone. And there's a half-empty beer there, and he just starts chugging it. Like it's a half-empty thing of beer, and he just starts drinking it. And look, I'm all for like, you know, hey, let's have a good time, but I ain't trying to get nobody else's drink in my mouth. The last thing I want is a backwash, half-drinking thing of beer in Las Vegas to be like going down my gullet, right? So me and my friend kind of look at each other and we're like, this is crazy. And he chugs it as fast as humanly possible and comes back to us, right? And me and my friend have locked eyes at this point, and we're kind of like, this is going to get out of control. We can tell, because if he's that desperate to, you know, be feeling that type of way where he's gonna go drink half drinking things from other people's tables, this is just gonna get a little bit out of control. And you know, maybe our idea of being nice wasn't that nice, and maybe the fact that he was banned from a casino on the Las Vegas Strip should have also been a sign that something was a little bit off here. So he finishes that one, looks at the other table, sees that there's two other half-empty ones as well, and sucks those puppies down as fast as possible. So at this point, in the last 30 seconds, he's now gone through 2.5 empty, like, he had a pretty fair amount to drink in a very short period of time. I don't know the exact amount. But he comes back to us, right, and he goes, man, that was pretty good. I can tell what food they ate because of, you know, the taste of the beers that I drank. And I'm like, hold on. You're telling me that those people were such gross drinkers. There was enough backwash in each one for you to taste and distinguish which meal they had had? And he's like, yeah, which is extra gross, bro. That means that at one point you were drinking somebody else's drink, went, man, they sure spit a lot in this. Oh, well, and just kept drinking, right? So that's gross already. Things are definitely a little bit bizarre. But our waitress hasn't even come yet, by the way. So, like, this is only the first minute of us being here. And me and my friend are just kind of like, well, this is different. I've never gone out to dinner and seen this before. But like I said, he's just a homeless guy. Maybe he's on a rough time. I don't know. So I'm like, whatever. That's weird. I won't tell a story about that. It's just weird. But me and my friend are like, this is an experience. It's a good story, right? So at this point, though, we're kind of realizing we might have made a mistake. And, like, if this guy gets out of hand, man, we might be seen as kind of responsible for it. He Ubered here with us. He's with us. We're at the same table. We're kind of like, uh-oh. But our waitress walks over, and she's this younger girl. She's probably about me and my friend's age, so, like, 20, 21. And the homeless man is older, like at least 65, but, you know, living on the streets doesn't do much for your beauty, so he looks like he could be a solid 80. He doesn't have many teeth. He's a homeless man. Like, I'm not trying to degrade his appearance. I'm not flaming him for it, but that's what he looks like, right? And so this young girl, maybe 20, 21, 22, comes over, and she's like, hi, how are you guys doing today? And me and my friend are like, good. She's like, what can I get you? Me and my friend order peacefully, right? We're kind of like, oh, yeah, can we have a burger with a milkshake? Like, this whole thing, you know, our standard order, whatever you order at a burger place, so that makes sense. And then she looks at our friend, and our friend, you know, gives her a big toothless grin because he doesn't have teeth, and he goes, I don't know what I want to eat, but all I know is that I want your phone number, baby. You can't be that good looking in here. And then reaches out and, like, smacks the girl on her butt. And, you know, you want to be gross and drink trash beer off other people's tables. That's on you, bro. Those are the diseases that are going to go into your mouth. But I draw the line at you harassing this waitress who's just trying to do her job, right? So I say, yo, bro, that's not cool. Like, you need to go. Like, I'm like, dog, we're done. We're not eating dinner with you anymore. Like, I'm cool with whatever, but you don't get to just, this poor girl is just trying to do her job, dude. Like, you're not going to make her uncomfortable at her job to be a creeper. So I apologized to her, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, we found him outside. We were trying to do the right thing. And she's like, she's speechless because obviously she was not expecting any of that to go down either, right? So I'm like, yeah, no, that's done. And me and my friend get up and go to leave, right? We're done. We're not hanging out with this guy. We're so sorry. We leave a fat tip because we're like, this is just uncomfortable. We don't really know what to do, right? Like, I don't know what, I've never been in this situation before. I'm not an expert. So I think that the best thing to do is to just apologize, be like, we're not with him, and me and him are going to leave. And if this guy wants to stay, that's on him. But I'm not paying for somebody's dinner who's going to do that to people. Like, I'm just not down to be around somebody that does that type of stuff, right? And I guess that this really sets him off because he gets up in my face and starts telling me, how dare I try to tell him what he can and can't do. And like, I'm just like the rest of society, a big jerk who's never down to help anyone but myself, yada, yada, yada. Which, first of all, I was about to buy you dinner. I don't understand how that makes me the bad guy. Like, I was about to pay for your dinner and take you to a nice meal because you said you haven't eaten in 3 days, and then you had to go start drinking garbage beer and hit on our waitress for no reason. I don't know how I'm the bad person. And also, yes, I'm gonna tell you what you can and can't do, because when you're trying to harass some poor girl just trying to do her job, looking like Toothless the Dragon, yeah, dude, like, that's not cool. And it wouldn't be cool even if you, like, that's just not cool. You picking up what I'm putting, like, I'm not down with that. I wouldn't let anybody treat somebody else like that. I'm just not down, like, no, you don't get to harass our waitress and then be acting mad that I'm the one who's saying we're done here. Like, that's not how this works, right? And so he starts saying, I'm going to fight you, I'm going to fight you. And I should have been like, no, we shall not fight. That is bad. But at this point, I've seen him disrespect this girl. He's disrespecting me. He's causing a scene. He's ruining all these people tonight. And I basically was like, all right, let's go. Let's fight right now, dude. You're 65, and I just watched you drink all that in like 30 seconds. There's no way you're in shape. There's no way you're in a right state of mind. Let's go. Let's throw down, bro. And so at this point, the security is starting to like come in from the other part of the casino and try to break this up, right? And so I'm getting ready to go down. Our waitress is still standing there flabbergasted because she doesn't know what's going on. And that's when he just starts like screaming when security gets there. I fought Jesus. I'm going to rematch Jesus in a boxing match next Saturday. Me and God fought him because he was lying to us about the devil, and you're Jesus, and I'm going to fight you. It like just starts going off about how apparently he's fought Jesus. Him and God like beat up Jesus. You know, Jesus was just chilling there, and God was like, yeah, you got to fight this homeless dude from Las Vegas. Like, he starts going off, and he's like, if I can fight Jesus, then I can fight you because I know you have pieces of Jesus in you. And I'm like, I'm part Jesus? What? Like, my mom didn't tell me that, bro. I thought my grandma was from Germany, not God. Like, crazy stuff going on. So he is freaking out. Security walks in. Obviously, we're all making a scene, so they're like, you guys all gotta go, which is fair. I'm like, I say sorry again to the waitress. She's like, it's fine. We get taken outside, and the entire time we're getting escorted out, he's still screaming, I'm gonna fight Jesus! I'm gonna fight Jesus! The guy is pretty bent on fighting Jesus at this point, right? So the entire time, he's still screaming about how he's gonna fight Jesus, and apparently I am now Jesus, and he's going to fight me, which, thanks for the compliment, man, but I don't think I'm that great. So we get outside, right? And we all get escorted out. They take us out 2 different exits, but we can see him from the exit that we get escorted out of. And he starts walking over to us, and my friend's like, oh, great, bruv, like, here we go. Like, we're going to have to scrap this man. We're gonna have to scrap him. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, please don't come over here, bro. Like, I just don't. I don't want to, like, have to fight this old dude. I don't want to, but, like, hey, you know, if the options are you're going to keep harassing this poor waitress or we're throwing down, like, we're throwing down. I got to do what I got to do, you know? I got to do the right thing. So he walks over to us and just looks me, and he's staring at me. And he's staring at me for a while, and I'm like, can I help you? And he goes, yeah, where are we going to eat, guys? What's going on? Like, what, you know, yeah, can we go back to your house? Can I sleep on your couch tonight? And I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah, I mean, that was a little crazy, but hey, everybody gets mad every now and then, you know? And he goes to shake my hand, and I'm like, nah, dog, like, you're not going to sleep on my couch. You just told me that you're going to fight Jesus, and God is telling you that you have permission to box Jesus, and you expect me to let you sleep on my couch next to my kitchen in my bedroom, where I'm going to wake up with you standing over the top of me with a watermelon before you bash my head in with it. No, you're not spending the night at my house. And he's like, okay, well, where are we going to dinner? I'm like, dude, you just tried to fight me. You literally just tried to fight me. What are you talking about? And he's like, well, can you at least give me some money then so that way I have something to do tonight? I'm like, no, you just tried to fight me and harassed our waitress. I'm not going to pay you to go out and have a good time. Like, what do you mean? And he just goes, oh, you guys are jerks. I thought you guys were cool. And he storms off. And as he's storming off, he turns back and he flips us off. And he's like, people these days, me? I'm the crazy person, bro. Yeah, I wonder how that goes down. So all I did was smack this waitress's butt. Next thing I know, that guy said it was wrong, and then he wouldn't let me sleep on his couch. What type of crap is that? And all of his friends were like, yeah, dude, that is crazy, man. He should have let you sleep on his couch. Like, no, bro. And so after that, me and my friend would go back to the Bellagio and have ourselves a peaceful dinner. And we're sitting there eating, and my friend's just pretty quiet. I'm like, yeah, that was crazy. We're talking about it. We're laughing. But he gets really quiet, and he goes, is that pretty common in Las Vegas? And I'm like, you know, I've lived here 20 years. I've seen my fair share of crazy things. That is the craziest thing I've ever experienced in Vegas, like, because of Vegas. I've experienced crazier things, but it's never been like, you know, chilling on the strip, and then some homeless guy walks up that you think is really cool, and next thing you know, he's screaming that he's gonna fight Jesus and getting you guys escorted out of a casino, you know? No, that is not a daily thing. So, yeah, that's the guy that's gonna fight Jesus. Jesus, if you're watching this, you know, be on the lookout. Apparently, this dude is very crazy. He's trying to throw down. Moral of the story is, maybe don't be nice to people. I don't know. This all started because I wanted to be nice. So, yeah, I'm taking the L for that one. On that note, though, guys, head over to G Fuel. Use code Scrubby for 30% off all purchases. I would greatly appreciate it. Other than that, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. Today's notification shout-out goes to fainted.tweets. Big shout-out to you. You have a funny account. Follow me on Instagram. Send me proof of your notifications on, and hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video. This has been your boy Scrubby, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are all having an absolutely fantastic day. I know I am. If you are, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam, Benji will fly over from Norway and steal your cattle. Yeah, that's right. I don't even know if you have cattle. I'm not really sure what cattle is defined as, but if you have it, Benji will steal it, and it's not worth the risk, so be sure to press the like button. Anyways, as you guys can tell from the title of today's video, today I'm going to be telling you guys about something pretty crazy that happened back in the day when I was in school, and basically, a student ended up stealing a teacher's car and crashing it. And I know what you guys are thinking. Ryan, why was your school actually a GTA 5 lobby? And honestly, I don't know what to tell you because I really don't have any good reasoning. To keep it 100 with you guys, I feel like the water in my school might have just had something in it that made kids' brain cells stop working, but yeah, it's gonna be a pretty good video, so like I said, press the like button. Without further ado, let's get into it. Now, first things first, what you gotta know about my school is that we had two different parking lots. We had a student parking lot and a teacher parking lot, and teachers always parked in the back of the school. And they did this to prevent kids from, you know, keying teachers' cars or, you know, I don't know, partying on the roof of a Volkswagen. The typical stuff that goes on whenever you accidentally show up on a teacher's car. I think we've all been in a position before where you're just sitting with the boys, and next thing you know, Benji has his pants off and is dancing on top of a Mercedes. It happens pretty often, at least, you know, when we're all hanging out, which is pretty bizarre now that I think about it, but whatever. So we had separate parking lots, and the school that I went to was a pretty interesting school, to the point where the students' parking lot tend to have nicer cars than the teachers' parking lot, and it was kind of a meme amongst the school, which is wrong. I mean, I know, like, I was a normal kid, okay? My car was not nicer than teachers' cars, but those kids definitely existed, and there was this group of kids who I'm gonna call La Douchiers, and they were just this group of insanely rich kids that parents basically let them get away with bloody murder, and they were convinced that they were actually the greatest thing to ever walk the earth. It was this group of 3 or 4 guys who played lacrosse. Like, yeah, you're thinking of the guys that I'm describing right now. Like, just a group of guys that definitely are gonna join a frat and you know, their parents are going to set them up for life, that group of kids. And for some reason, they thought that they were the most savage, epically funny people of all time, except they would constantly do things that just weren't really funny, you know? Like, they'd be like, we're going to be funny and get the lunch lady fired. And the lunch lady would be like, please, no, I have 6 kids that I have to feed with this job. And they'd be like, well, you should have thought about that before you messed with us and got pranked, Consuela. Go outside. Like, they were just constantly doing things that weren't very funny in order to try to make themselves look cooler or be savage, and it started to get really old after a while. They definitely weren't the type of guys that I personally liked to hang out with. But regardless, they would do their pranks that went a little bit too far and were never really funny. And because their parents were pretty loaded, the school would never actually do anything about it. Like, if they got a lunch lady fired, the school would be like, well, the lunch lady shouldn't have been a moron, you know? Maybe if she wasn't so stupid, then she wouldn't have gotten fired, because for some reason our school worked like that. And regardless, this group of guys definitely, for some reason, always had to take it a level higher each time they pranked. Like, every time they would try to pull a prank or do something on the school, for some reason they had to get more and more extreme. It wasn't enough to get lunch ladies fired, or I don't know, color a whiteboard in orange peels, whatever it is they decided to do. They just keep having to make it more and more extreme, and it gets to a certain point after 4 years of high school with these kids constantly thinking that they're epic pranksters, where it's hard to get any further. It's really difficult to actually get further at a certain point. So regardless, this group of kids decide that, it's their senior year. They've got to get out of control. They've got to pull the most savage, epic prank of all time, okay? The baby days are over. They're going pro. They're no longer going to be playing triple A ball when it comes to their pranks. And for some reason, they come up to me and my group of friends at lunch and ask what they should do. Because me and my friends were actually funny when we would prank people, okay? We weren't like getting lunch ladies fired or, convincing teachers that they had measles so they would take a week off of school, because I didn't think that was very funny. Me and my group of friends would like steal candy bars from the cafeteria, or I don't know, just mess with people in ways that were actually funny, like Robin Hood type stuff. And these guys were just not the fun type of people. So whatever, they're hounding me for about 3 days for the best senior prank idea of all time. And the senior prank that we did, they wanted to one up us because our senior prank was pretty funny, but that's an entirely different video. If you guys want that story, then comment down below, but we're not going to talk about that right now. So anyways, I basically am like getting annoyed with them asking me constantly because they won't leave me alone. Like every day I'm getting texts. They're coming up to me in the lunchroom. What should we do for our prank? So finally, I just tell them, you should steal a car, right? Steal a car and then park it somewhere it's not supposed to be parked, obviously, or your car, whatever, it's an old prank, I think everybody's heard the story of, oh, we took apart Mark's car and rebuilt it in the quad, and it took him a crane to get it out. Like, everybody's heard that story before, right? So that's what I tell them. They're like, yo, that's a sick idea, good idea, good idea. So I think that's the end of it. They stopped asking me for ideas, and I honestly didn't think they were stupid enough to actually steal a car, because I don't know about you, but if I was like, hey, what's a good prank, and someone was like, rob a bank, I wouldn't go, dang, that's super sick. When the cops pull up, I'll just tell them it was a prank. I'd go, as much as I appreciate the advice, I don't feel like that's a very good idea, because robbing things tends to get you time in prison, not time on MTV's senior prank show. Just throwing that out there. So regardless, I don't think they're going to do anything for it. And one day I'm kind of just sitting in class and an announcement comes over the intercom and it basically says that there's a problem in the teacher's parking lot. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, all right. I don't really know what's going on, but in the back of my head, I'm kind of like, did they steal a teacher's car? Because even when I told them to do the prank, I said move their car or take a student's car. I never wanted them to take a teacher's car. So obviously, the rest of the class period, I'm just kind of sitting there twiddling my thumbs, hoping nothing's gone on, because I don't want to be responsible for a teacher's car getting stolen or anything. So on the way out to class, I had to walk through the teacher's parking lot because we had portables back there because our school had too many people or whatever. And my last class of the day was a math class that I had in this portable. So I'm walking out, and the way that our school was structured, you had to walk out this gate that had bollards, which are basically these metal poles that stick out of the ground to prevent cars from driving into the school. And I guess these dummies had decided to steal a teacher's car, one of the teachers they didn't like, and had not paid attention to the fact that there was something that was going to block them from driving into the school, and had gone at 25 miles an hour and just smacked these metal poles that are cemented in the ground with the car. The car is mangled. I think the entire hood of the car, the engine's half sticking out. Like, it's pretty obvious to me that this car is never going to drive again. And sitting there are two of the kids in the group just kind of looking like they're gonna get away with it. They have this smug look on their face where they're just kind of like, yeah, I'm not even mad, bro. Like, my dad's gonna get me out of trouble. And yeah, your dad might be rich or whatever. Like, don't get me wrong. Your dad being rich is certainly gonna help. But I think stealing someone's car and destroying it probably, hear me out, it's a little above your dad's pay grade, okay? No one's gonna be like, oh, you just stole a teacher's car and totaled it? Well, I mean, your dad's cool. Like, this is not a school matter anymore. This is the cops. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, that is really, really not good. And they look at me and like give me a heads up and a smile. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be involved in this. So if you could stop looking at me, I would really appreciate you just averting your gaze and no longer looking at me. Like, I don't want to be involved in this. I'm not trying to get in trouble for you guys stealing a teacher's car because that's way above my pay grade. That's not something I'm interested in. And I go to my math class and I think that's it. I'm like, yeah, there's no way I'm going to get involved. And of course, I'm sitting in my math class and in walks a student aide with a piece of paper in her hand, and it basically says, Ryan, to the dean's office. So the teacher tells me that I have to go to the dean's office, and immediately I'm starting to get a little nervous, okay? Because I know these kids get away with whatever they want, and if the dean thought there was maybe a way for him to pin it on somebody else, then he was gonna do it, because the dean didn't want to make this kid's parents mad, and I guess I was kind of not responsible. I didn't tell him to steal a car, okay? This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That's like somebody telling you, oh, you've got money issues, you should rob a bank, and then you go into the courtroom and you go, Your Honor, hear me out. out, okay? Ryan did tell us that robbing a bank would be a good idea, so therefore he should go to jail with us. Like, I'm pretty sure that's not how it's supposed to work, but you never know. Sometimes people get away with crazy things. So I get to the dean's office, and all these rich kids and their parents are sitting there, and they're basically like, why did you tell these kids to steal a teacher's car? And I'm like, I didn't. They asked me for a senior prank idea, and I said, I don't know, you could put a car in the middle of the quad because I've heard that before. And they're like, well, you know, you are in part ways responsible for this. And the teacher whose car got stolen is sitting there like flabbergasted. And I actually used to have her when I was like a sophomore. And she's like, no, Ryan is not responsible for this. He told them what would be a funny senior prank. And these guys decided to steal a teacher's car and crash it. That is not Ryan's fault. Like, don't get me wrong, if they would have just moved the car into the quad, sure, it still would have been stealing the car, but it would have been a little funnier. That's not why everyone's mad, okay? Like, let's get it straight. Your kids crashed the car. That's why everyone's mad. Nobody is just upset that you guys wanted to pull a senior prank. Don't get me wrong, stealing a car isn't cool, but I think the teacher could get over that fact if, you know, she had a car to drive home with, but she doesn't anymore because you guys are morons. So the teacher has my back, and she's kind of like, if you guys are going to try to punish Ryan for this, I will be pressing charges. I don't think she wanted to press charges. I think she just wanted the car to get paid for, and that she wanted it to be the end of it, but she basically says, if you guys try to pin this on Ryan, then I will be pressing charges on your kids. And I think the parents kind of knew at that point that they weren't going to win that battle, okay? Like, call me crazy, but I really don't think you've got a chance at taking the dub in the courtroom by saying, my son is a good kid. Like, maybe it's happened once or twice, but when there is video camera proof of your son stealing a teacher's car and crashing it, I highly doubt that's going to fly very well in the courtroom. So they decide, fine, they buy the teacher a new car, and the kids for the rest of the year have beef with me. They act like it's my fault they got in trouble. I guess they weren't allowed to walk at graduation, and somehow that was my fault, and like the moms told the kids that I ruined their baby's senior year, and I was like, okay, first of all, I can deal with soccer moms hating me. I'm not foreign to the fact. Second of all, I don't know you, so I don't know why you think I would care that you don't like me. Like some random soccer mom on the road, I don't like you. Cool, Rebecca, I don't know you. I don't know why you think I would possibly care at the fact that you don't like me, because I don't know who you are, but you can not like me. That's fine. I can sleep just fine at night with the soccer mom not liking me. But the kids had beef with me for the year, but thankfully, after stealing a car, they kind of knew they couldn't get away with much anymore, so they left me alone for a majority of it. Like, they really didn't mess with me much. But yeah, the teacher was actually pretty chill about it. I would have pressed charges. I don't know how you stayed calm. If I found a bunch of kids that had like stolen my car and crashed it, they would definitely be going to jail. I would be doing basically everything in my power to make sure that these kids were getting the fullest punishment of the law. But apparently some people are better people than me and don't want a bunch of children sitting in prison. So good on her for being an educator. Regardless though, guys, moral of the story is don't steal your teacher's car. I know I shouldn't have to explain that, but I feel like it's something that I sadly have to explain these days. And yeah, if you ever do something dumb enough to like crashing somebody else's car, do the entire world a favor and don't try to blame it on somebody that had nothing to do with it, because trust me, it will backfire. Like, could you imagine the cosmic amount of karma that those kids would have gotten if they would have gotten away with blaming it on me? Like, nothing in life would have gone right for them, because karma would have come out of nowhere and RKO'd those kids straight into a McDonald's job, all right? Like, it would have happened. But on that note, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I would greatly appreciate you guys pressing the like button. I really enjoy getting getting likes because it's really fun. I really like likes. So if you could take a second to press the like button, I would greatly appreciate it. If you're new, I upload story times like this every single day. So if you like that, then subscribe and turn on notifications. And speaking of notifications, today's notification shout out goes to a little somebody named only Gerge. I don't know if that's supposed to be George, but if it is, you spelt your name wrong, bro. Yeah, if you want a notification shout out, just send me a screenshot of you with notifications onto my Instagram at Scrubby, which you should follow, by the way, and I'll shout you out. If you've made it this far into the video, comment potato down below just so I can see if you guys are actually savage enough to be on my Snapchat story for absolute savagery. But on that note, that's going to do it for the video. Have an incredible day. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure you're hot, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time with another video. I'm out. Peace.
Follow me on Instagram. I got the OG at Scrubby. It's so clean, it's so nice, and I want 100,000 followers. So go follow me right now, or I swear I'm gonna throw an apple at your forehead. 3, 2, 1, apple throwing now. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Patrick Star here, back with another video. I might not work at the Krusty Krab, but I'll tell you what, I work your mom every night. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you guys know what I'm saying. You guys know what I'm saying? I don't know what I'm saying, so if you do, good for you, because I don't even know what I'm talking about. That was probably the worst intro to a video you've ever heard in your entire life, but it's okay, because we're out here to have a good time, and it's gravy in the Navy, you know what I mean? Today we're going to be telling the story of a time I almost got arrested while I was ding-dong ditching. That's right. OMG. But then I played the world's fattest reverse Uno card of all time and got the people who owned the house in more trouble than myself. That is correct, ladies and gentlemen. I, Scrubby, played the most 1v1 no-scopes only reverse Uno card of all time. Some call it great, some call it, you know, a visionary move, like the Steve Jobs of ding-dong ditching. I don't like to use those words, but if you do, my ego will be flattered, you know, so feel free to comment that down below. But without further ado, let's get into some juicy tooty fruity booty and sket it, as Little Pump would say. So in high school, you know, sometimes you get bored and you decide to do dumb things. That's just part of the hustle, and my friends Blake and Aubrey and I, well, I should say, you know, it was more like one friend. I was really tight with Blake, and he was dating Aubrey, so I was kind of forced to hang out with her. She was a little bit of a buzzkill, I'm not gonna lie. Like, you know the person that when you're about to do something stupid goes, guys, this probably isn't a good idea, and you're like, we know, Aubrey, that's why we're doing it. Good ideas are never fun. That was the type of person she is. Whatever. One night we were all hanging out, and we were like, hey, let's go do something fun, and me and my friend decided to do ding-dong ditching, and Aubrey, of course, was like, no, that's rude. You don't want to wake people up. And I was like, Aubrey, listen, you're gonna be 80 years old and be no fun, and your grandkids are going to hate you. Can you please, for once in your life, do something fun? I would really appreciate if you would just relax and go, yeah, let's have a good time for once. I know you're uptight, okay? Like, if I shove something up there, it would become a diamond in 32 work weeks, but trust me, we can have fun for one night. And Blake, of course, is like, yeah, let's have fun. So, reluctantly, Aubrey agrees to go with us when we're ding-dong ditching, and me and Blake are hyped. We're boying out, okay? We put on our darkest clothes, getting ready to just be some real ninjas out here, ding-dong ditching, doing whatever we gotta do to just be slick as hell. So anyways, me, Blake, and Aubrey were out here really booling, trying to go cruising for a bruise and doing some old-fashioned, good home-cooked Paula Deen ding-dong ditching. Paula Deen is actually really bad at ding-dong ditching. Surprisingly, fat people are not very aerodynamic at running away from a door or fitting through them. I don't know if you guys could figure that out. Eating 30 sticks of butter a day does not do wonders for your ability to run away from things very quickly. Just a little tidbit of information for all you. So whatever, we decide that we're ready to roll out. So we walk out, you know, with our all black outfits on, ready to just really go to town with some ding-dong ditching, some old school down home cooking ding-dong ditching. So we hop in a car and we go to a neighborhood that we don't know very well. And I know you guys are thinking that's dumb, but at the same time, if you get caught ding-dong ditching by your neighbor, it's way more awkward because they know your parents and they're gonna be like, why'd you ding-dong ditch my house? And you don't really have a good explanation because they've always been nice to you and like helped you light fireworks on the 4th of July. It's just not a good look. So you need to go to a neighborhood that you don't know very well. This also leads to a conundrum, which is way more fun of when you try to run away, you're not very good at it. I think it's more fun. A lot of people would call it stupid, but hey, it wouldn't be a good story if I was always smart, you know? Like, if my life story was, I went to school and got a good job and I studied on Friday nights, that would not be a good story time channel, okay? How I studied for my midterm? I don't think so. Me making mistakes is what keeps you entertained, and don't you forget it. So whatever, we're in this neighborhood and we decide to start ding-dong ditching, and the first like 10 houses go pretty uneventfully. Like, we ding-dong ditch, we run, they come, they open the door, they look confused, they look down the street, haha, whoa, we rang your doorbell, but we weren't there. Ultimate Pranksters Joey Salad Edition. And that's just how it goes for like, yeah, 10, 15 houses, about an hour or so, I would say. Just me, Audrey, and Blake running up and down ding-dong ditching. And Audrey, of course, is not having any of this. She's scared at every house. What if we get caught? What if something bad happens? And I'm like, look, nothing bad's gonna happen while we're ding-dong ditching. Like, nobody's, you know, gonna beat us for ding-dong ditching. Boy, was I wrong. We're getting there, but Audrey actually got a very good reason to be afraid of ever having fun with me ever again. So whatever, a couple more houses later, there's this one house, and you know, like, the rest of the neighborhood's really nice, and this house had a yard with a bunch of dead grass, and there was like trash in the front yard. Definitely did not look like the type of house of somebody who, you know, is proud to be a homeowner. So whatever, we decide that we're gonna ding-dong ditch it anyways, and we're kind of laughing at the fact that the front yard is, you know, not in a good place. So we're giggling and we go up and we ding-dong ditch it, and within like 3 seconds of ringing the doorbell, when we're still to the bottom of the driveway, the door swings open with a ferocity that can only be matched by a hurricane viciously opening your door before before it beats you with it while singing the Bee Gees, okay? And standing there is an obese woman in a muumuu. I don't know if you guys know what a muumuu is. It's like a onesie for fat people, okay? And basically, it's just draped over her. I can see mounds of things that I did not want to see previously, and she is standing there in the doorway holding a kitchen knife, and she immediately screams, "Get back up here." And while I'm sure we could outrun her because she was shaped like Carl Weezer, for some reason we decide not to run. I'm not really sure why we decided to go back up and do what she said, but we get back up there. Keep in mind, she's brandishing a knife, and she says, "If any of you try to run, I'm going to stab you," which is not the most, polite message. Sure, ding-dong ditching isn't polite, but it is not threatening somebody with a knife. Like, not once have I ever ding-dong ditched, and once they answer the door, go, "Haha, I'm gonna shoot ya, I'm gonna stab ya." That's not in my repertoire. But hey, I guess this lady was just really, really not feeling the whole ding-dong ditching maneuver that we were doing on her house. So we're being held at knife point for like 30 seconds while she goes and, starts calling 911 on her cell phone. So she's standing in her front door, muumuu and all, cell phone out with the knife, calling the police, basically being like, "These kids ding-dong ditched my house. I want them arrested." And I don't know if we actually broke any laws. It's annoying, sure, but I don't think it's illegal to ding-dong ditch. However, Paula Deen herself, who was standing in the doorway brandishing a knife, was not thinking logically. So as we're standing here getting yelled at by Paula Deen brandishing a kitchen knife over kids ding-dong ditching, and listen, I know ding-dong ditching annoying. I'm not trying to say that I was not in the wrong at all. I know it's annoying, but to threaten teenage kids with a knife because they rang your doorbell might actually be the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. That's the equivalent of somebody stepping on your toes in the library, so you take a book, make them put their nose into it, slam the book over and over again until the words on the page are imprinted onto their side of their heads, and then go, "Yeah, did you learn your lesson?" Like, threatening me with a knife is not going to make me go, "You're right, I should never ding-dong ditch again." And it wasn't the last time I went ding-dong ditching. So eat that, Paula Deen. Your obese muumuu-wearing, knife-wielding self was not intimidating to me. Ha. Now I just make videos on the internet talking about you. That's right, Paula Deen. You're making me money. How's that make you feel? Get wrecked. 1v1 no scopes only. Paula Deen did not win. But anyways, I'm getting yelled at by this woman with a knife, and her husband comes out. And I don't know how it's possible, but her husband is actually more annoying than her. That's right. The person holding me hostage while she's calling the cops definitely is somehow not as annoying as her husband. Her husband walks out, and the guys that weren't in the military, but they wear camouflage and, flex the fact that they're super badass because they watched a YouTube video on how to shoot a gun once. Yeah, that's the type of guy this is. And he starts coming out talking about it's his rights as an American citizen to be free of all solicitors. And I'm like, we're not selling you anything, dude. I don't even know what's happening. And they're telling me I'm going to jail because I'm mouthing off. My friend, Blake and Audrey, they're not arguing at all. They're just chilling out and not fighting with them. And I can't keep my mouth shut. It's my problem. That's my biggest character flaw. I can't shut up. If somebody's annoying me, my mouth does not shut ever. It just stays open. It keeps flapping like gum in the wind. I don't know why. If I could learn to shut up, I would, but I can't. I always keep talking, especially when I should shut up. Like when an old man's yelling at you, telling you you're going to prison, the response isn't, "Ah, dang, I will still see less expletive word for the male area than you do on a daily basis," probably isn't the best response because it's just going to make him more upset, But for some reason, I'm still running my mouth. And after about half an hour of this arguing back and forth, the cops show up because, they don't care about ding-dong ditchers. It's not a very important thing for them. And as soon as the cops get there, the lady goes from, "You kids are disrespectful ding-dong ditchers," to immediately saying that I attacked her and that I was going crazy and attacking them. And listen, you guys know from these videos, I'm really not a violent guy, okay? I'm not attacking anyone, especially over ding-dong ditching. I fight with my words more than I fight with anything else, 100%. So when this lady starts being like, "You attacked me, they attacked me, these ding-dong ditchers attacked me," and I was the only one arguing, and everyone's just kind of sitting there confused except for her husband, who's immediately like, "Back away from my wife, you violent critters." The cops noticeably were like, "It's kind of weird that the kids are just kind of standing there confused while this lady is desperately trying to convince us that she was just getting attacked 30 seconds before we pulled up." But whatever, the cops pull up and they separate us both and start questioning us, and all three of us are kind of like, I don't really know what happened. We were ding-dong ditching. We admit it. We don't lie to the cops. We're not like, "Oh, we did nothing wrong." We're like, "Yeah, we were ding-dong ditching obviously, but we didn't attack them. Like, we'll admit we definitely did something wrong, but we did not attack these people. And then we started telling him how they were holding us at knife point, and he's like, hold on. She was brandishing a knife so you couldn't leave? And we're like, yeah. He says, well, usually when we get 911 calls, by the time we pull up, the kids are gone. But I guess if they held you here with a knife, like that's illegal. That's just threatening you. You can't do that. You can't hold a kid at knife point. And we're like, yeah, well, that's what happened. And I guess her and her husband got separated, and they both told different stories. Like in the husband's story, you know, I brandished a knife and attacked his wife, and she wrestled it away from me. Yeah, your wife has not wrestled anything, big dude, okay? She looks like Paula Deen. She's not wrestling anything from my grasp, I promise you, except for like maybe a Hot Pocket. And then the wife's story was that I pushed her to the ground and her husband saved her. So they obviously know we're lying, or they're lying, not we're lying. They give us a stern talking to about how ding dong ditching is annoying and we shouldn't do it or whatever. And like, yeah, it's annoying. That's the point. The point isn't to be a good neighbor. No one's ever like, I'm gonna get ding dong ditched to make sure everyone's doorbells are working. Obviously, we're doing it to be annoying, but the cops were pretty chill. And then comes the point where they ask us if we want to press charges on them. And they're like, what do you mean? Asking them to press charges? They're the ones who ding dong ditched us. They're like, yeah, but you can't hold kids at knife point, you idiots. You're not allowed to just like try to kidnap kids because they ding dong ditch you. That's a no-no. That's a big no-no. And me and my friends didn't press charges, obviously, because when you're like, I don't know, 15, 16 years old, your first thought isn't, I want to go into a legal battle with a chubby lady who held me at knife point. But yeah, moral of the story is don't threaten kids because cops don't like that a little bit more than they don't like ding dong ditching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the story. If you did, I would appreciate you pressing the like button, letting me know in the comments section down below what you thought of the video, all that good stuff. Hopefully you did. If you're new, subscribe. Also, you know, feel free to follow me on the social medias. I do appreciate it. And on that note, hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video. My name is Scrubby, and I'll talk to you guys later. I'm out. Don't get anyone pregnant, and if you do, make sure they're hot. Peace.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. And the other day I was hanging out with Gordon Ramsay, and he looks at me and he says, "Oi mate, no joke, no scam, if you don't press the like button, I'm gonna cook you into a sack of garbage." That was more Australian than it was British, but if you don't press the like button, Gordon Ramsay will cook you into a sack of garbage. You heard it here first, guys. I hope you all are having an absolutely incredible day. I know I am, and yeah, let's get into the video. That was a different intro than normal. Now, after yesterday's kind of emo story time, I figured I would keep the trend going and tell you guys something sad that happened. Alright, like, this story is funny, don't get it twisted. There's definitely gonna be some jokes in here, but basically, my homeboy Grant got his girlfriend finessed, bamboozled, stolen, absolutely ghosted by his former best friend. Yeah, that's right, you know, the man that you used to eat bread with and play Pokemon with decided to slide into your girlfriend's DMs and take her on a date, and he got absolutely fandangoed. And regardless, it is a pretty funny story that he told me about, so I figured I would share it with you guys today. So without further ado, let's get into it. 3, 2, 1, bow bow. Now, everybody usually has one childhood best friend that you don't really hang out with anymore, alright? I have like 8, you know, you used to be friends when you were like 8, but suddenly things change. You can drive a car, they have a cocaine addiction, it's not that fun to hang out anymore, you know. These are just normal things that happen, and I think everybody has one friend that they used to be super close with that they just kind of drifted apart from. The only difference with this story is that, you know, his former best friend ended up sliding into his girlfriend of 3 years DMs, taking her on a date, and now they actually got engaged, which is how we're talking about it right now. So that's a fat yikes. Anyways, Grant and this guy used to be absolutely best friends. They met in preschool and really hit it off. You know, they both like the same dinosaur. Triceratops actually are the coolest dinosaur. Don't at me. I like the way that they're always horny. But regardless, I guess they just liked the same dinosaur and they kicked it off, and they were really, really, really good friends. And they stayed really good friends. Their family became friends, and they were basically inseparable. But around sophomore year of high school, Grant started dating this girl named, hold on, I need to think of a fake name so that way I don't get my videos taken down for a privacy complaint. Her name was Alice, okay? Alice. YouTube, if you're watching this, that is not her real name. I am not violating anyone's privacy, and I swear, if I get an email saying that Alice is complaining about this, I'm going to throw my computer out of the window so quickly that it will actually break the sound barrier and my motherboard will fry itself. So anyways, Grant and Alice start dating, and obviously, you know, when you're young and in love, you think everything is meant to last, alright? Grant was head over heels in love with this Alice chick, alright? right? Like, to be honest, I met Grant around the time he started dating Alice, and this guy was whipped, all right? Like, I have never seen a man get more whipped in his entire life, bro. She would be like, Grant, my chocolate milk isn't chocolatey enough, and he would fly to the Swiss Alps just to get more chocolate to put in her milk. Like, this man was absolutely whipped, and don't get me wrong, being whipped isn't always a bad thing, all right? Taking good care of your girlfriend, totally cool. But that's just to give you an idea. Grant was a whipped little hoe, okay? Like, this man would actually go to the end of the earth for Alice, and all of us were kind of like, dang, it be like that sometimes. And Grant, when you're young and in love, made the mistake of kind of cutting off his bros a little bit. He didn't really hang out with his friends as much because he kind of got like super into the chick, and you know, it's water under the bridge. Everybody's been there, done that. Just remember, guys, your friends are always going to have your back, okay? Girls aren't necessarily going to be forever. I mean, sure, you might meet your soulmate when you're 14. It's a possibility, but odds are that you're going to need your bros when you're going through the breakup. But whatever, Grant didn't really talk to anyone very much except for his friend, and you know, him, his friend, and Alice were like their little trio friend group. They basically did everything together. They would go on vacations together, they would hang out together, they were always together, they would eat lunch together. Like, they were basically an inseparable trio, and everybody kind of knew that. And me and Grant were like friends, but not super good friends at this point, you know? Like, I just kind of knew the guy. But everybody in the school kind of knew that that was the trio. They were basically inseparable, you know? And you might think, oh man, you, your best friend, and your girlfriend hang out all the time, you know? That's great, good for you. What a fun friendship to have. But at the end of the day, like I said, Grant did get absolutely fandangoed, and we're getting there. So buckle your seatbelts, because this story is about to take a wild turn, all right? I need everybody, please batten down the hatches. Keep your hands, legs, and any objects inside the vehicle for this wild ride that we are about to go on. So Grant basically comes to school one day, and he just looks emo, all right? Like, you know the kid from Meet the Robinsons that never slept and had bags under his eyes? That's kind of what Grant was looking like, all right? And everybody's like, dude, are you okay? Like, I wasn't there for this, but this is what he was telling me. And he's like, dog, we broke up. And everyone's like, you broke up? What? Why? Like, why would you guys break up? What happened? Like, there's no way. You guys were so cute. Aw, goals. Like, you know when the girls in high school are like, you guys are so goals. Like, Grant was getting, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm sure you guys will get back together. You guys were so cute. Oh, no, what happened? And Grant's just like, I'm not talking about what happened, because what happened was he kind of got yoded upon by his best friend. Yeah, that's right. When your best friend that you've spent the last like year hanging out with your girlfriend and him, and then he ends up sleeping with your girlfriend, that's gonna be a fat yikes for me, dog. Definitely don't feel too good. I mean, it probably felt good for them, but it didn't feel good for Grant. You know what I mean? So I didn't know the specifics of the story, but basically what had happened was we were coming back from school from a long weekend, and Grant had convinced his parents to pay for the three of them to go on vacation, right? You know, Grant's parents were like, dog, of course, you and your friends can go. Grant had worked at a part-time job. He was saving up his money to go, and so they went to California. They went to Huntington Beach, right? Oh, romantic beach. So romantic. Grant was gonna hold her hand, watch the sunset with her, whisper sweet nothings in his girlfriend's ear, you know? And keep in mind, Grant was paying for all of this. He just wanted to spend time with his girlfriend and his friend. Like, he was being a real OG, one of the nicest things ever. Like, how are you gonna cheat on your mans when he just paid for your vacation? That's just ice cold. But basically what happened was Grant they were in a hotel room with two beds, right? And he was supposed to share a bed with his girlfriend, and he woke up in the middle of the night, and his girlfriend was not in his bed, okay? Like, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not trying to get demonetized. I'm not trying to get yeeted, but you guys can pick up what I am putting down. So obviously this makes Grant very upset. So he starts screaming like, what is going on? Like, what's happening? And they try to explain it. They're like, oh, it's not what it looks like. And he's like, what else could this possibly be? Like, what else could this possibly be? And they tried to say the excuse. Wait for it. Wait for it. Are you ready? Are you ready? Oh, I dropped my contact and he was helping me find it. Bruh, you are in bed with your boyfriend's best friend, and you are going to use the excuse that you dropped your contact? Now, excuse me. Last time I checked, you don't even need brain cells. Dominic Schmidt could figure out that that is a plain lie. Like, literally anyone with a thought process. If you can figure out how to breathe, you ready? Like a deer. You ever looked in a deer's eyes and just seen how stupid they are? Yeah, a deer could figure out that it was definitely not about a contact. So obviously this is a very awkward situation because this is the first night they're in California. They're supposed to be in California for 2 more nights, and he just found out that his girlfriend was cheating on him with his best friend in the same hotel room. Like, listen, okay, I don't condone cheating. You shouldn't do it. It's bad. If you're gonna cheat, like if you absolutely have to, maybe don't do it in the same hotel room as your boyfriend, all right? Like call me big brain 500 IQ. You're gonna get caught if you go for that. So Grant's obviously upset, but it gets worse. The poor guy has to share a hotel room with them for the rest of the trip. And okay, this, I feel so bad. It's not funny. It's not funny, but it's funny. They slept in the same bed. It's not funny. It's not funny. I feel really bad, but like that's so funny. It's not funny. Like I feel bad, but if this happened to anyone except my best friend, I would think it was the funniest thing I've ever heard. But I mean, Grant's ex is obviously not the nicest person in the world. I don't know, sleeping with your best friend on a vacation that you paid for is definitely up there with being a bad person. So you know what else she decided to do? She decided to start a rumor around school that Grant cheated on her and like was telling everybody that Grant was flirting with tons of other girls, and she just felt like there was nothing to do, and like that's why she ended up talking to his best friend because she wanted him to know how it felt to cheat. Grant never cheated, dog. So now every girl in school thinks that Grant is this jerk who like doesn't respect women and cheats on them, when in reality, Grant was really out here getting two-timed with his best friend. He took the fattest L. So I didn't really know any of this. I just thought they broke up, and I was like, man, like that sucks. Because I know girls after a breakup, sometimes they like to tell stories. Like that's just normal, right? That's just what happens sometimes. And me and Grant ended up becoming really good friends after this, and I thought he just stopped hanging out with the other guy. And then after they stopped hanging out, that's when he started dating his girlfriend. But no, they just started dating right away. Like, I'm not even kidding. Grant's former best friend is engaged to the girl that cheated on Grant. Like, I mean, how do you even respond to that? Like, if they toss Grant an invite to the wedding, should he go? Like, what are you supposed to do? I don't know. But regardless, you know, Grant's best friend stole his girlfriend. They're not best friends anymore. For everybody in the comments, it's like, why didn't he fight the kid? I don't know. Grant's just not really a fighter, I guess. I guess I can ask him. Hold up, let me go grab him. Yo, Grant, the people want to know, why didn't you fight the best friend that stole your girlfriend?
Well, I mean, she's a hoe, and I don't fight for a hoe, so...
I mean, yeah, yo, come on, that's legit. Okay, you don't fight for hoes. Everybody keep that in mind. Grant is the expert on how to handle these situations, I guess. But yeah, on that note, guys, moral of the story is don't pay for vacations ever. You just don't go on vacations. Keep working, otherwise your best friend will steal your girlfriend. Verifiably true, 100%, based on everything that I've ever seen in evidence. Really though, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I would appreciate you guys pressing the like button, commenting down below, and subscribing if you're new. Today's notification shout out goes to Pop-Tart Bomb. Pop-Tart Bomb, you are a stud. I appreciate you having on notifications. If you want a notification shout out, all you gotta do is turn on notifications, send me a screenshot of my Instagram at Scrubby. I'm still waiting on an update from YouTube on the Karen thing. I know there's gonna be a lot of questions about that, so there's your little update. YouTube hasn't said anything to me yet, so we're just waiting. But yeah, on that note, hope you guys have an absolutely incredible day. I hope your best friend never steals your girlfriend, and I'll see you guys next time with another video where I embarrass somebody else. I'm just gonna make my dad... Actually, you know what? We're gonna send it. If this video gets 100,000 likes, I'll make a story time with my dad. I'll have my dad come on here and do a story time with me. 100,000 likes. You guys heard it here first. But yeah, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure you're hot. No one's gonna see this part of the video, so it's not gonna get 100,000 likes. And I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. No joke, no scam. If you don't press the like button in the next 13 seconds, then I will actually be forced by the court of law. Untie your shoes. Yeah, that's right. The judge laid down the ruling, and he said, you're gonna have to go around and untie everyone who doesn't press the like button shoes. I'm sorry, guys. Anyways, hope you guys are all having an absolutely incredible day. I know I am. It's your boy Scrubs here, back again with another video. This intro has been super out of order, and I know a couple of you have your OCD triggered, but you know what? Get over yourselves. Anyways, guys, today we're going to be telling a little bit of a different story, alright? Something a little bit out of the ordinary, maybe not something as funny as usual. We're going to be talking about a scary story that a friend of mine experienced, alright? This actually might be up there with one of the scariest stories you've ever heard, so I will warn you all to buckle your seatbelts and double check to make sure your feet are covered
by the blankets. Otherwise, a strange man will be grabbing your toes and ripping you out of bed at 3 in the morning, and you're welcome for putting that nightmare scenario in your head. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. Yeah. So this story takes place when I was in college. This is from a girlfriend of mine, which makes the story just a little bit creepier, all right? I feel like if the story happened to a dude, it would definitely be weird, but for some reason, when you tell us with the context that there was a pretty young girl in the house, it just makes it even worse. And where we lived in Utah at the time, it got really cold in the winter, and for the most part, you really didn't expect many people to be homeless. Like, it just wasn't a very good city to be homeless in, okay? And there definitely were people, but for the most part, they kept to the downtown area, and we definitely didn't live in a major city by any means. So there wasn't really a massive homeless population, so squatting and like people breaking into houses to get warm really wasn't a thing where we were, or at least so we thought at the time, you know? And this friend of mine actually lived on the edge of town right up against the woods, and halfway through winter, she started complaining about how she was hearing these weird noises coming from her attic and how it was freaking her out and making it hard for her to sleep at night. And me and all my friends kind of would make fun of her and be like, oh, watch out, the dangerous raccoon's gonna drop down from the ceiling and give you rabies. Like, no one really took her seriously, okay? And even she would kind of laugh at it. Like, she would be like, yeah, I know it's nothing. Like, obviously there's no reason to be scared, but, you know, it is kind of freaky. Like, the sounds are just weird. And so, obviously, for the most part, we thought she was just hearing things. Maybe an animal had gotten into her attic, but because she was renting, she didn't really want to, like, bother the landlord by calling and asking him to come check it out, because the noises weren't disruptive. It just kind of freaked her out, all right? Like, it wasn't like she was hearing noises and someone dragging on a body across the top of the attic being like, you're next, you're next. Nah, she just heard loud noises coming from the attic, and so she decided that she was just gonna tough it out for the winter, and that was gonna be the end of it. But about halfway through the winter, she started dating this guy, and things got pretty serious pretty quickly, and he ended up spending the night at her house a couple times. I know, scandalous, okay? For anyone out there listening to this story, I don't even know what spending the night means. I've never even looked at a girl. My mom told me to never look at a girl before marriage, so, you know, I just never have. I'm a pure, innocent boy. But whatever, he started spending the night at her house pretty often, and he would hear the noises too, and whenever we hang out, he'd be like, man, it doesn't sound like a raccoon. Like, it doesn't sound like it's a big deal, but it sounds, you know, like there's a larger animal up there. Like, I don't know, maybe there's like a hibernating bear, and all of us would laugh like, yes, a hibernating bear crawled into your attic and, you know, like, definitely is sleeping in your attic. Ha ha ha. Like, we all thought it was so funny, the idea that some bear was sleeping in her attic, you know? And the boyfriend obviously didn't seem too concerned about it, which made none of us concerned. Like, if anything, it made us kind of make fun of her more. Like, the boyfriend was convinced it was an animal too, so we didn't really think anything of it. And then things started to go missing from the apartment house. I don't really know, like, how to describe it. It was a thing with an attic, okay? I guess it started with small things, you know, like a box of cereal would be gone, a box of Cheez-Its. Actually, that's not a small thing. If you take my Cheez-Its, I will actually hunt you down with the wrath of Liam Neeson and cut off your big toe. But, you know, just like food stuff, or, you know, the remote would be in a different place when they woke up, and him and her were just kind of like, oh, you know, we just must be misplacing it. Like, maybe we are just misplacing things, you know, the remote moved, we must have just fallen asleep with it in our lap and like it rolled off the couch, you know. Obviously, you're making logical assumptions because it's not the most logical thing in the world to go, I bet you there's somebody living in our attic that's coming in and taking things. Like, that's generally not the most logical go-to that a sane person does. And then things started to, like, go missing at a faster rate, okay? To the point where it was no longer just things like being missing. Like, they would wake up to a new bag of chips opened and half eaten on the couch and, like, the TV channel on a channel that they never watch, okay? Like, it was getting to the point where they either had a carbon monoxide leak or there was, like, a ghost in the house. And I'm not even kidding. For a while, they were trying to convince all of us that there was a ghost in the house. Because, I mean, to be fair, that's a lot less scary. I would rather have a phantom spirit in my house than, you know, a strange man on Adderall. But, like, regardless, they start trying to convince us that all this stuff is going on, and none of us really believe it, okay? And we're like, yeah, sure stuff's actually moving, you know? We just think that they're forgetting things and being forgetful, and they're like, no, like, I'm telling you, you know, the other day, we bought a bag of barbecue chips, and we hadn't opened them yet, and we woke up, and they were half gone on the couch, and we were both asleep in bed. Like, I don't know what's happening or what's going on, but I feel like things are getting moved around. And I had seen on Reddit a little bit ago that some guy had a carbon monoxide leak and was forgetting what he was doing during the night. So I said, hey, you know, I saw this on Reddit. There's a whole thread about it, about how if you have a carbon monoxide leak, sometimes you'll forget what you were doing the night before and you might do things like in your sleep. And they were like, wow, okay, maybe that's it. So they called the landlord to see if they had a carbon monoxide leak. They explain what's going on, and he's like, oh, yeah, you know, I'll come check it out. No big deal. I'm glad you guys are okay. I'm glad it didn't get any further than this. Thank you for contacting me. So the landlord comes out and they're looking around and he goes, you know, I'm gonna go take a look in the attic. I'll be right back. And I guess when he looked in the attic, there was a bald man just sitting in the corner trying to hide. So he signs the flashlight. He's like, oh my God. And he comes down, he says, call the police. So the girl and the guy call the cops pull up, and the landlord, and the entire time, like, they're like, what's going on? And the landlord won't answer. He said, you just need to call the police. So the police come up, and the landlord says, I need to talk to you. And he walks over and he tells them what's going on. And the police are like, are you being serious? Yes. So they go up into the attic, and sure enough, this bald guy had been living in her attic for who knows how long. Like, to be honest, nobody really knows when he broke in. We knew it was sometime during the winter, but he had a sleeping bag, a lantern, books, a bunch of food that was missing was up there. He had literally been living in this girl's attic for at least a period of 2 months, ever since she started complaining about noises, and she had no idea. Like, for anybody in the comments who's gonna be like, oh, how do you not know someone's living in your attic? When you're hearing noises and like a box of Cheez-Its go missing, tell me your first thought would be somebody lives in the attic, you know? Like, obviously that's not what you're gonna think, especially since she lived in a rural area, in a low crime area. Like, it just, no one's mind ever at any point thought somebody was going to be living in her attic. So the police obviously arrest the guy for trespassing, but that's really all they can arrest him for. Like, not even a serious crime. I mean, breaking and entering, but like there was a way into the attic, so he didn't really break in. So they nail him for trespassing, right? But keep in mind, this guy had been living above this like 18-year-old girl for the past few months, just watching everything she did. He had to have had a way to see her because, you know, obviously he had to know when she was asleep so he can go get food and all that stuff. And sure enough, they found little holes that had been drilled into the bedroom and like the bathroom and places where he could look down from the attic and like see what she was doing in the house. And that's the weirdest thing to me. Like, don't get me wrong, someone living in your house is creepy, but knowing that there was somebody watching every move you made and everything you did for the last few months has to be the most terrifying feeling of all time. I don't even do anything. Like, the guy would basically watch me go to a party once a week and then make YouTube videos. But if someone was watching me do it without me knowing, that's next level scary. So this girl did have another year on her lease, but the landlord immediately let her break it because he just didn't want to deal with the bad publicity of this. And she was like, I'm done. I want to move. Like, I don't want to live in this state anymore. I'm terrified. And she was just saying how lucky she is that her boyfriend had basically lived with her at that point, because who knows? He was getting more brave, obviously, just kind of moving and taking stuff. Who knows what would have happened if she wouldn't have had like a guy there? Like, I don't know. Obviously, she was super freaked out, and none of us really blamed her. She ended up getting excused from a couple finals, which, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, going to a professor and saying there was a strange man living in my attic watching every move I made for the past few months and I had no idea, so I'd really appreciate a little bit more to study, is probably a pretty good excuse. But yeah, the guy actually didn't end up getting charged with like any super serious crimes that I remember, because like I said, he was just living in her attic. Like, he didn't really have to break in. They just got him for trespassing, which is so mind-boggling to me. Like, this guy was creeping on this girl, and the most you could hit him for with trespassing. Sometimes the law and legal system just makes no sense. And obviously she was super freaked out. She ended up transferring schools just because, like, just being in that town and area freaked her out and just made her like uncomfortable. And I mean, same. I mean, if somebody was stalking me, I think I would definitely have to move. I couldn't just keep going. So yeah, moral of the story is, if you're cold in the middle of winter, don't crawl into people's attics and stalk them, because for the most part, it's going to end up with you getting hit for trespassing and being an absolute creeper, and no one's going to like you after that, all right? Nobody wants to hang out with the guy who stalks somebody and, you know, hid in their attic. Like, that's not a very popular thing to do. But on that note, guys, that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to press the like button. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of the video, and if you're new, subscribe, of course. Today's notification shout out goes to Noah FTZ3. Big shout out to you for having on notifications, man. If you want a notification shout out, all you gotta do is turn on notifications, send a screenshot to me over at my Instagram at Scrubby, and I shout somebody out every day. But on that note, don't get anyone pregnant, and if you do, make sure they're not sneaking around hiding in your attic, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are all having an absolutely incredible day. I know I am. If you guys are, feel free to smash that like button. I have bad news. I'm actually your mom. Yeah, that's right. The woman you've been growing up with your entire life. No. That's not your mom. It's me. I'm your mom. Hello. I know you're thinking, why did you give me up, Mom? Well, the truth is, I never expected you to be so awesome. Now you watch my videos? That's pretty lit. And I want you to press the like button since I am your mother. I got an Instagram the other day asking me if I had any party stories, and I actually have a few. do. They just usually don't do very well, so, you know, I usually don't, but since I got the nicest Instagram DM, I figured I would. For those of you guys who want a specific story about, like, certain types of things, you can DM me at Scrubby on Instagram, and I usually read them all. Like, I don't have time to respond to every DM. I probably get 400 or 500 a day, but I do read them all, and if you guys have a topic that I'm really feeling that I think I can make a good video out of, I'll definitely talk about it. So, yeah, keep that in mind. But they asked if I had any crazy parties, and I do. I was not a massive partier in college, mainly because of this story. I really did, like, 4 or 5 crazy party experiences in college, one of which I've already talked about when I accidentally got the cops called to a hotel and just denied actually staying there. And this one's definitely the second most crazy. I didn't throw this one, but basically what ended up happening is we accidentally lit a dorm room on fire. Yeah, you know, just your casual run-of-the-mill party stuff. Everybody got a little tipsy, we lit something on fire, the fire department came, a typical Friday night in college, you know, everybody loves the fire department out there. And I figured it would make a good story, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. So without further ado, let's get into it. 1v1 me, no scopes only. Basically, my college was what is known as a dry campus, meaning that the teachers tell every parent that sends their kids there that there's no alcohol on campus. And surprisingly, a bunch of college kids with freedom don't really like that rule and break it at the first notice. But all the parents are convinced that their kids are going to be safe, that there's going to be no party scene whatsoever. So, you know, when I got dropped off my college, my parents were like, wow, it's a dry campus. He's going to have no crazy partying whatsoever. Nothing's going to get out of hand. There's going to be no alcohol for miles. He's going to have to swim across a lake and fight a bear himself to get a bottle of vodka. But you put 21-year-olds in a town with the only rule being don't do it, with no actual enforcement, and surprisingly, there's a lot of bottles of vodka sitting around, like a bit of a Russian family reunion. You know, the 7-year-olds were drinking too. So the first night after classes, like the first weekend, I guess I should say, the first Friday night, we get a knock on our door, and at the time I had a horrible roommate I've talked about before. Basically, my roommate would like lock a cat in the room, and I wasn't shy to tell everybody how crappy my roommate was, because when your roommate is locking a cat in your bathroom, the last thing you want to do is hang out in your dorm room. So I was usually hanging out with other people, or, you know, just hanging out in the common room, anything I could to get away from Korean Cat Boy. That was his nickname. I've done a whole story about it. If you want to look it up, you can. I'm sure it's on my channel somewhere. And I was hanging out with 2 guys in their dorm room, and I get a knock on the door, or they got a knock on the door, and I went to answer it because I was always hanging out in their room, and it says, hey, Ryan, and my 2 friends' names. I'm going to call them Mitchell and Cameron, because I'm watching all of Modern Family right now. It's what I've been binge watching this week. It's pretty heat. But we were all hanging out. They said, we're going to throw a party in our dorm tonight. We would really love it if you guys came by. You guys are really chill, and bring anybody you know. Like, we're going to try to get it turned. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. And the way our dorms were situated, we had 1 bathroom with 2 rooms attached. That was the way it worked. So we immediately go over to the other room, and we invite them. I go invite all my friends. Like, we're trying to get this party lit. And our dorm room, or dorm building, was 4 floors, and the party was going to be on the 4th floor. So basically, by the time we got to the 1st floor to invite people, word had gotten around, and everybody knew that there was going to be a lit party on the 4th floor of the building this Friday, or that night. I don't know why I said this Friday when I was talking about that night. That seems kind of silly. I don't really know what I was going for there, to be honest, but hey, get me some slack, please. But whatever, that day we're just getting ready for the party, and I walk into this dorm room where the party's being held about an hour before it starts, right? Like, we're just hanging out, helping set stuff up, and I'm not even kidding you, I have never in my life seen this much alcohol in one place, okay? Like, if Alcoholics Anonymous had a meeting here, everybody would be breaking their pact 100%. There's enough alcohol in here to kill a full-grown elephant. 2 full-grown elephants even. Hell, Dumbo and the whole crew are going down swinging if they walked into this dorm room. That's how much alcohol is just chilling. And I immediately know that they're definitely not gonna be anything tonight except a bunch of very, very, very hydrated people, okay? Susan, I didn't say the word. Leave me alone. Give me my ad revenue, okay, Susan? It's okay. Hey, yeah, I know you're grumpy. I know James Charles lost a lot of subs like 2 weeks ago. It's not my fault. Come on, Susan. Be chill, Sue. So the party gets rolling and people start pulling in. Immediately, the giant wall of alcohol that once was is very, very, very slowly falling away. It's not there anymore. It's slowly shrinking, and suddenly all the people that used to be very reasonable and think things through are no longer reasonable in thinking things through. Instead, it's like a giant group of babies. I've said this a couple times, but drunk people are just giant babies. Think about it. They can't walk very well, they slur all their words when they're talking, and they poop themselves. Drunk people are basically babies, and if you disagree, you're just wrong. You can disagree. I'm sorry. I'm just not having it. I'm sorry. It's nothing personal. personal, guys. It's just the truth. So here I am with a bunch of adult babies pooping themselves and not being able to talk. So everybody is out here getting a little tipsy, and it's not my dorm, keep in mind. Like, I'm in a friend's dorm or a friend of a friend's dorm, really. And there's tons of people. Like, it's shoulder to shoulder. And these dorms were not big by any means. Think of a can of sardines, but more crammed and smellier and drunk. It's definitely not the type of place you want to be chilling like a villain with 300 people. And then the puking starts. If you've ever been around drunk people, they tend to throw up. And when you're in a tight crowd, packed as tight as sardines, that throw up has nowhere to go. So it starts with one person throwing up, right? Which leads to another person throwing up, leading to another person throwing up. And pretty soon, we got a chain reaction Chernobyl nuclear meltdown of throw up going on in this dorm room. And it's passing from person to person, and it's out of control, 100%. There is no dubskis being handed out at the moment. It is all going downhill quickly. You know, like, have you ever seen the video of the one bike race where one guy crashes and then pretty soon the entire bike race has crashed? That's how it was with throw up. And now people are panicking because nobody wants to be around throw up. But they're not coordinated enough to be getting away. They're not. They can't walk. They can't talk. It's not a good situation to have a bunch of people trying to run out of a tiny doorway, especially when puke has ruined everything and it smells bad and it's slippery. So the crowd starts to move and I can't really control where I'm going. I'm a skinny guy. The entire crowd is moving me across the planet at this point, trying to run away from the puke. And next thing I know, it starts to smell worse. You might be thinking, what could smell worse than a bunch of drunk vomit? And I look back and I see colors on the wall that don't seem to be coming from lights. Somehow, in the panic, I still to this day don't know how it started, a fire has started in the room. And now, we're trapped like sardines, surrounded in puke, with drunk people running everywhere, and there's a fire in the same room, or the same dorm room. Like, I was kind of in the hallway at this point of the two rooms to the bathroom. It makes sense in my head, okay? So obviously, we're freaking out. We start running. And the worst part is the RAs were supposed to keep parties out of control. The RAs were at the party, okay? Like, these are not RAs that are doing their job very well. So immediately, they, like, sober up and they call the department and like, there's a crazy party, it's out of control, there's a fire. So everybody is drunk. We all go outside, right? And of course, within like 5 minutes, because I was in a college in a small town, the fire department's there. They're trying to put out the fire. But we can see the fire like growing on the inside of the room from where everybody's standing, you know? And so the dean's there. We woke him up in the middle of the night. The principals are there because it was a really small college. And in the middle of it all is all this drunk kids. Like, one entire dorm building basically is drunk. There were very few people that were not tipsy at this point. Keep in mind, it's a dry campus, so the dean immediately starts cracking down, trying to figure out why everybody got drunk, where the party was going, who threw it, and surprisingly, nobody's snitching, because if we snitch on one person, everybody's going down. Everybody was involved. Everybody was at the party. There's really nobody who can snitch and get away with it without getting their kneecaps smashed. But yeah, about an hour later, the fire department has put out the fire. They say that everyone's allowed back into the dorm rooms and everybody slowly saunters in, and we end up going up to the room, like, or the people who were in the room end up going back up, and the dean's like, so it's you two. He was waiting at the room to try to figure out who it is, and they were like, no, we were studying. We were in the library. And he's like, oh, really? And the roommates were like, yeah, they weren't here. I don't know. People barged in and started partying. And it was one of those things where the dean can't prove it. He can't prove they weren't there, but they definitely weren't there. And I don't know how to this day they did, but they got away with it, okay? I don't know how the people who threw the party got away with it, but they did. And from that point, we never threw parties in the dorm. We went to off-campus housing because there really wasn't a way the dean could get pissed if it was off-campus because they don't control anything off-campus. Moral of the story is there really isn't any morals in this story because we did things that were not okay. Underage drinking is bad and you shouldn't do it. That's right, kids. It's negatory bad. All right, Susan, I did the thing where I don't promote bad things to children. You're welcome. Real talk, though, it was one of the funniest, most intense experiences of my life. Something about a bunch of drunk people frantically trying to run out of room covered in vomit is something that is burned into your memory forever like an Etch-a-Sketch, and now it's in yours. Congratulations. If you guys want anything else spoken about on the channel, like I said, shoot me an Instagram DM. You guys are watching this on the 25th. Tomorrow's my birthday. I've got a special video coming out for my birthday, so yeet yeet double dab on the haters. That's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are all having an absolutely incredible day. I know I am. If you are, please smash that like button harder than Logan Paul did to Chloe Bennett. That's right. I just finished Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like all the seasons. That show really does slap. I'm not even gonna lie. It was really, really, really good, and I have a crush on Chloe Bennett. So if anyone's related to her or anything and can get me a date with Chloe Bennett, I'd really, really appreciate it. But this video is not about Chloe Bennett, so I'm gonna stop talking about her now. But speaking about girls that I'm attracted to, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. I went on a Tinder date last night. Yeehaw, yay for me. I really went out there and got my feet wet. And by getting my feet wet, I mean she was kind of crazy again. Something you guys gotta understand though before we get into this. Okay, I do date normal girls. There are dates I go on that don't end with a girl being a psycho. They're just not funny. Like, why would I get on here and tell you guys a story of, you know, we had a lovely evening, we ate dinner together, we ate under the promenade, we had a great time, and had a great conversation that carried on into us finding to, you know, hang out more. See, that's not fun. That's not cool. You guys only enjoy it when my life is falling apart. So as soon as I met this girl and the date went terribly, I went, oh my god, finally another situation where people will laugh at my pain. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. For some reason, my dating history is pretty abysmal. Don't get me wrong, like I said, I do go on good dates. It's just not funny to tell you guys about good dates. And this girl was no exception. Now, I didn't meet this girl the normal way. I know you guys are used to story times where I'm like, yo, I was on Tinder and this mad cutie popped up. I swiped right, it was mutual, and we had a connection. Now, this was an old school thing where you meet someone in like public and whatever. Except not really. I guess it is kind of a modern thing. Regardless, my friend was in town earlier this week and we went out to the town, and like I said, I live in Las Vegas. I've said that a few times. So when you're in Las Vegas, you go out and you do some fun things when your friends are in town. And of course, I'm not 21 yet, so I would never, ever, ever, ever go under the influence of anything ever. But if I did, I wouldn't drive. So for one reason or another, me and my friend could not drive. It was because we were both taking our polio medication. That's right, you know, you gotta get ready for the vaccines coming up. Vaccine season's fast upon us. So we couldn't drive. Yeah, that's definitely it, okay? Susan, look, it was medicine, I promise, all right? But whatever, me and my friends could not drive because we were taking our medication. And so we had to get an Uber back to my house, right? Like, we couldn't really walk home because it was a far distance, and besides, walking is for, I don't know, people with legs. Yeah, that's right, you suckers walk places. I don't know where I was going with that, all right? Don't judge me. Only God can judge me, and he probably is viciously every day that I'm a massive disappointment and definitely not something he's proud to have created. But hey, you know, listen, my channel, my rules, and I say we're cool here. So we got an Uber, we hopped up in this hoe, and our driver was actually pretty cute, and my friend is pretty hydrated at this point, I'm not gonna lie. He's pretty flabbergasted. He's just kind of babbling, saying things that don't make any sense to say out loud. At one point, he's talking about how, like, aliens are definitely real. Not quite sure, but he's, like, slurring his words while he's doing it. It was just an interesting situation, but like I said, that's what's going on. So me and this Uber driver, who is pretty cute, are making fun of my friend. We're, like, making fun of him, joking with him because he's super out of it, and we're laughing and having a good time while we're doing it. And whatever, we bond, and my friend ends up, like, falling asleep because I live across town from the party district in Las Vegas, the Strip. Like, I live basically away from that. So he passes out on the way back, and we just start having a normal conversation after he passes out. But keep in mind, we've already got some chemistry. We're both making fun of someone, and I don't know, I like when girls can, like, make fun of people, right? It's one of my favorite things. Like, being able to have fun, have a good time is just a really, really fun, exciting thing. And so I already am like, wow, you're cute and you can make fun of people, especially my drunk friends. I'm a fan of this. I could really get down with somebody like you, and she's cute. And we start talking and whatnot, and she is an Uber driver on the side because her main job is just boring, blah, 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 blah. And we just have a normal conversation. We have a great time doing normal things, and I'm like, wow, this is really great. And obviously, there's no red flags. Actually, there were a couple red flags. She was weirdly, like, inquisitive about if I liked kids, and I didn't think about it at the time. I was like, oh, whatever, but that'll be important later. Anyways, so me and the Uber driver got along. We have a great conversation. We hit it off. We're really bonding, getting along fantastically. And overall, it was just a great time. I had a really, really fun time enjoying myself on this date. Or not a date, it was an Uber drive. I guess you could consider it a date, but you know, in a way that, like, you're paying her to drive you places. Yeah, that type of date. Really romantic. So we get to my house, right, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna ask her out. So I'm getting my friend out of the car. I'm like, hey, you should give me your number or something. We could go out sometime. And she's like, yeah, I'd love that. Haha. So she gives me her number, and I don't text her for 2 days. Yes, because I'm just, I don't know, I'm that guy. I'm like, look, I'm the enigma, okay? Like, come on, let's be realistic here. I'm mysterious. I'm weird. Am I gonna text you? Am I not? You're gonna have to wait 2 days and find out on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. Did I text you? The answer in this situation is yes, I did. And that's why they were talking about the story time. But that was what was going on, okay? So I didn't text her for 2 days, but I'm texting her, and our conversation over text is fantastic. We're having a great time. Everybody's getting along. Everybody's chatting it up. And by everybody, I mean us too. I don't know why I do that a lot in these videos. Like, I'll be like, everybody, but it's like 2 people. It's stupid, and it doesn't make sense, but I don't know. It's really fun. So everybody is having a fantastic time, you know? And she goes, hey, what are you doing this Friday? And we both have nothing going on. So I'm like, hey, let's go on a date. Like, let's go out. Let's have a good time. And she's like, yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm super stoked. I love having a good time. Me too. I think we all do. We all love having a lovely time. We all love dating crazy people and getting to tell the story on the internet for money. Yeehaw. So obviously, she's like, well, what do you want to do on Friday? And listen, this is corny. I'm a 12-year-old at heart, and I'm never going to change. I love mini golf. Mini golf is fun. Mini golf is dope. And if you don't like mini golf, well, that's crappy because it's a good first date. And if you don't like mini golf, I can't date you. So like if you're ever sitting there, oh, Scrubby, date me, and you don't like mini golf, no. And if you do like mini golf, bro, let's go on a date. Like, no homo. Come on, let's just hop out there, play some mini golf, have a grand old time. Everybody loves mini golf, or at least that's what I thought. But she's like, yeah, sure, let's go play mini golf. And also, you know what? If a guy has a plan for a first date and you don't like the plan, you don't want to go on that date, just say, nah, don't feel like mini golfing. You don't need to make me look like an idiot and do some psycho stuff while we're playing mini golf. That is my sanctity. That is my safe place. And this woman had the balls to be psycho in my safe place. So whatever, she's like, yeah, let's go play mini golf. So Friday comes, I go pick her up, and we go to play mini golf. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is when Doom was spelled D-O-O-N-Q. How do you spell Doom? I don't know. I do know how to spell Doom. That was a joke. That was a joke, guys, okay? I don't want any comments about how you guys think I'm stupid. I can't tolerate that. My ego is bruised. So whatever, we get to the mini golf place, and we're just flowing in conversation, having a good old time, and she's like, I actually am really, really good at mini golf. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I thought it was like that fun flirty thing where you're like, I'm gonna beat you at mini golf. And then you guys like flirt and goof off, and nobody's good at mini golf, but like, you know, you just have a good time, because that's at least what I thought a normal person would do, you know? But no, we start playing, and I'm not even kidding. This girl is taking it seriously. She's doing Pythagorean theorems, trying to figure out the best angle of attack on the hole. She's doing math equations in her head about how to bounce balls off certain things. That's what she said. And I'm just kind of like chilling, you know? I like mini golf. It's fun, and I would say I'm above average, but I'm not Tiger Woods. And this woman was like the Tiger Woods of mini golf. And whatever, that's not why she was psycho. Like, that was just kind of weird. I was like, oh, you're really, really into mini golf, and that's a little bit bizarre. And you know, mini golf's main demographic is children, kids, you know, like kids, which I actually, you know, kids and I get along pretty well, I guess. I want to be a dad one day. Like, that's something cool for me. So I like kids. That's not what I meant. So context matters, okay? You guys know what I was trying to say. And at the mini golf place, there was kids playing in front of us, and she looks at me, she's like, ugh, I hate kids. And I was like, what? They're just playing mini golf. She's like, yeah, but look, they're so loud and annoying. And I'm like, well, they're kids playing mini golf. Yeah, that's how it works, you know? Like, kids are trying to have fun, have a good time out here. That's what they're trying to do. They're just chilling. They're really, really not sitting here trying to ruin your day. I promise you, they probably really don't care that we're here. They're just having fun playing mini golf. And she starts going on and on about how kids are the worst and how anybody who likes kids is a terrible person, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just sitting there with my mouth shut like, okay, crazy lady. And whatever, if you don't like kids, like, that's fine, don't like kids. But for you to, you know, get mad at kids in a kid's place for being kids is kind of weird. That was a mouthful. But come on, like, you wouldn't go to a park and then complain about, kids are so noisy. Like, wait, what do you mean? We're playing mini golf. Of course kids are gonna be having fun playing mini golf. But whatever, she's just freaking out, and one of the kids messes up and hits the ball way too hard, and it like bounces out of the course and off the wall and comes and lands like by my feet. And it's not a big deal. I don't care. I have zero care in the world that this just happened, that there's a ball at my feet now. I don't care in the slightest. But it's a big deal to her because she starts screaming, and I mean screaming at these kids about how stupid they are and da-da-da-da-da, and I'm like, oh my god. I'm on a date with a crazy person. You are screaming at kids for being kids, playing mini golf, and like accidentally hitting me with a ball. Like, they didn't even hit me hard. It like rolled up to my feet and tapped my shoe. Okay, it was a love kiss. And she is just screaming at these poor kids. And I'm like, okay, at this point, date 2 is not going to happen. I am definitely not down to date a psycho Uber driver who hates kids and screams at them whenever they do anything at all ever that she does not slightly approve of in the slightest. I'm really not down for that life, not at all. So at this point, she can see that I'm like not really vibing on this date. I'm not having a great time. And she's like, hey, what's wrong? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I just don't really like that you yelled at those kids for no reason. And she starts going off about how they're stupid and how I shouldn't worry about them and how like kids are just idiots and da 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 da. And I'm like, oh my God, this person is actually going to curb stomp a baby if it barfs on anyone or like sneezes on somebody. And I'm not down for that, all right? It tells a lot about a person. Like if a person hates kids, they're probably like not a chill person to hang out with, to be honest. Because everything kids do is what's fun, you know? Like goofing off and having a good time. That's what's up. That's what life's about. So at this point, I politely say, you know, I gotta go home. I have to go do something tomorrow. And she's like, oh yeah, no problem. So I take her home, I drop her off, and I ghosted her. Yeah, call me immature, call me an idiot, call me whatever you want. I ghosted the girl that screamed at a bunch of kids that were innocent, and I hope you guys understand. I hope you guys understand why I had to do that, you know? Desperate times call for desperate measures. But on that note, guys, that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to press the like button. Let me know in the comment section down below if you enjoyed all that Gucci Gang stuff. I'm actually on Disneyland on the day you guys are seeing this, so hopefully you guys are having a magical day, because I probably am. I'm not gonna lie. You guys are all incredible. Thank you so much for all the support. We're nearing in on 300K, and I love you all, and I'll see you next time. I'm out. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are all having an incredible day. I know I am. If you guys are, I'd appreciate you smashing that like button and commenting down below. It really helps the video do better, and I like views. I'm not gonna lie, not gonna sugarcoat it. No lies here, just honesty. Today we're gonna be talking about stupid people, dumb people that make you giggle like a hee hee ha ha hoo hoo hee hee hoo hoo hee hee movement. I've met some really stupid people in my lifetime, and today we're gonna be talking about the dumbest girl I've ever met. I will warn you, your brain cells may cry from the amount of cringe that you're about to experience. I will say one massive warning: if you don't like stupid people, this is not going to be the video for you. But if you're here to listen to how some people actually somehow manage to beat the odds, the genetic lottery, and manage to reproduce even though they are actually the dumbest group of people you've ever met, this might be the story for you. You might have an incredible time. So yeah, without further ado, buckle up and get ready for the ride, my beautiful friends. So there was this girl that I'm going to call Gemma for the rest of the story, and I had most of my classes with her. I actually started getting to know her in elementary school. We were in a few classes together, and she actually might have been the dumbest person I've ever met. She somehow was smart enough to manage to get her way into honors and accelerated classes. She wasn't dumb when it came to, you know, history and, you know, math and whatever. She was really stupid when it came to common sense and understanding things. Like, she was actually the type of person that would, you know, sit on the TV and watch the couch, all right? Like, that's the type of stupidity that we were dealing with here. And somehow, miraculously, she managed to not get smarter over the entire time I knew her. So I figured I would just collect the stupidest things she's ever said and done into one neat little package and wrap it up and deliver it to your earlobes. An example of how dumb he was is one time we were sitting in our world geography class talking about New Year's Eve, you know, just having a normal conversation, and my teacher was from New York, and she talked about how on New Year's in New York it was crazy how many people came to visit the island, because New York is on the island of Manhattan, and how it was insane that there was millions and millions of people that came just to visit and watch the ball drop, right? Which is pretty cool, you know. Wow, what a neat little story. We were just kind of talking about New Year's Eve, having a standard conversation, and Gemma decided that, you know, in her head, it didn't make sense that millions of people would visit and nothing would happen. So she looked my teacher in the face and said the following: aren't you nervous that the island is gonna sink? Like, all those people visiting has gotta make the island a little lower. What if it sinks? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This woman thought that if you got enough people on an island, it would sink because it weighed too much. That is how stupid this girl was. And obviously, our teacher just kind of looked at her with this, like, I really can't tell if you're kidding face. Like, we all kind of laughed because we thought it was a joke, except, you know, I've known her for way longer at this point. This is in high school. So I knew she was legitimately so stupid that she would think that people standing on an island would have the ability to sink it. That's the type of girl that Gemma was. And it went beyond geography. Like I said, she somehow managed to get good grades. Like, she could point out Poland on a map to get a good grade in geography. She just thought that islands could sink if too many people were standing on it having a good time. And what blows my mind about Gemma is if you called her stupid, if you pointed out that she was stupid, she would argue with you, because she had the type of parents that enabled her and constantly told her she was special and that she was smarter than everyone and better than everyone, which are the worst type of people. I don't know if you've ever been around people like that whose parents are constantly telling them that they're a winner and that they're great at everything. everything, but they're actually the worst type of people to hang out with because they can never see the fault in their own actions. For example, one time, so Gemma was basically sitting here telling everybody how washing your hands is dumb because diseases aren't afraid of water, and we're all kind of sitting here like, what do you mean that washing your hands is dumb? And so I point out how stupid it is to not wash your hands because it's definitely easier to get a disease if you don't wash your hands than if you do wash your hands, right? And she proceeds to tell me how her mom and dad used to think the same thing, but after they listened to her, they realized that she is the smartest one in the family, so therefore, she is right. And I'm like, I don't care if you're the smartest one in your family, all right? Your family together has 14 brain cells. It doesn't mean anything in the real world, but that's the type of family that she had, was constantly telling her that she's right. Her family stopped washing their hands because their dumb daughter told them that it didn't actually prevent diseases, which is just wrong. It's just not true. But her family was so stupid that they would just believe anything she said. And what's weird is, from what I've never really like met her family, but I know her dad was a dentist, which is terrifying. Like, imagine getting your teeth cleaned by a man who doesn't wash his hands because his daughter was like, nah, it doesn't make sense, Dad. And he was like, you're right. I've been to med school, but my daughter, who's an idiot, is somehow smarter than me. This family was a train wreck that had a collective 14 brain cells. I don't understand who went to this guy as their dentist. I would not get my teeth cleaned by a man with a daughter this stupid, especially if he listens to her and her stupid advice all the time. But hey, that's Gemma. Gemma was just a real gem to be around, except no one liked to hang out with her. And one time I was, walking behind her and her friends in the hallway, and her friends were about as stupid as her, and she starts talking about how she's so excited to go out of the country because she's never been out of the country before. And her friend was like, oh, where are you going? And she said, New Mexico. This girl thought New Mexico was a different country. She really went, out of all the continental United States, New Mexico sounds like a new country because it's new. And when her friend was like, oh, no, I'm pretty sure it's a state. And she goes, no, it's a republic. Like, she thought it was like Puerto Rico, but with New Mexico. I'm sorry. I don't understand how you mess it up that bad. I really do not get it at all. How in the world is it possible that you think New Mexico is not a state? What? There was this other time in biology when we were sitting around talking about, how food is made. And for those of you who don't know, meat is just the animal's muscles. You're eating their muscles, right? That makes sense. And when she found this out, she proceeded to say, no, it's a part of the cow. And when my science teacher argued with her and started telling her, no, muscle is definitely what meat is made out of, she decided that was gross and became a vegetarian. No joke, no scam. This girl thought that meat was a part of a cow. Like, right under their heart is the meat part, and that's what hamburgers are made out of. Not understanding that meat is muscle. And you know what? Maybe I could let that one slide. It's possible that I could let that one slide. But combined with the fact that she thought New Mexico was a country, and combined with the fact that this girl thought an island could sink, I was not feeling it. I was not having a gorgeous time really enjoying this. I really killed this guy after playing the guitar. Wow, I'm kind of mean. But the real gem here, the real story that makes me laugh and understand how stupid this girl is one time we were sitting in the same world geography class from the start of the story, and her phone was missing. And of course, it could not be her fault. She couldn't have just misplaced it. It couldn't be in her backpack, maybe her back pocket. I don't know. Somebody stole it. So she throws this big scene accusing everybody in the class of stealing her phone and how one of us is going to pay for stealing her phone and whatever. All of us are like, no one has your phone. But I guess, maybe you thought your phone was stolen, right? So whatever. My teacher asked her to check her backpack and check all of her pockets. And she swears she does. She goes, I already have. You think I'd be causing a scene if I didn't? And I'm kind of like in my head, yeah, I mean, you are pretty stupid, so I wouldn't be surprised. But whatever, she swears she already has. So the teacher, of course, is like, all right, well, if somebody stole a phone, it's a serious accusation. So she calls the dean's office. They have one of their security people go stand at the door. And all of us, one at a time, have to get our backpacks in our pockets checked for this phone. That's right. 30-something kids. It takes about an hour for them to check all of our devices, all of our phones. And then, you know what Gemma does? After we're all checked and there's nothing there, she accuses us of stealing it and getting it out of the classroom before she noticed. As if any of us are ninjas that stole it and went, I guarantee you she's going to notice before the end of class and cause a scene. Let's do the old roundabout Tonson, where we toss the phone over the bridge, have somebody catch it, get on a helicopter, fly it to New Mexico, and have a great time. So old Razzletaz Johnson, the security guard, goes, the only person we haven't checked is you. And she goes, I don't have it. And he goes, well, we've checked everybody else. Let's just check. And it was in her backpack. Her phone was in her backpack. backpack afafter causing a scene for an hour, making everybody late to their other classes, and making everybody just have to have a terrible time, accusing everybody of being a thief and stealing and being a horrible person. It was in her backpack that she swore it wasn't in. And everybody was pissed at her, and she couldn't understand why we were mad. She's like, you guys would have done the same thing if your phone went missing. I went, no, I would check my backpack, and I also would know where my phone is. Like, I'm sorry, we live in the 21st century. If you don't know where your phone is and you don't check everything before you accuse someone of stealing it, you're an idiot. Everyone has a phone. What would I get out of stealing your phone? What, you think I don't have one? You think everybody in this class doesn't have one? You think I need 2 iPhones? Like I'm really out here? I need one for the plug and one for the load? No, it's just not the case. But of course, we're an hour late and it's all our fault. We should have just helped her look for it. You idiot. You massive idiot. Gemma, you're a moron. So whatever, Gemma obviously is not the sharpest tool in the shed, but she somehow got good grades and got into a college, which shocks me to no end, right? Like that this woman somehow got into a college, wrote an essay good enough for people to think it was a brilliant idea. I don't really understand what the thought process was, but hey, I really can't complain. Look at me being such a nice guy here. I let him kill me with a cannon. Oh my gosh, I'm such a sweetheart, you know? Regardless, she got into college. She's chilling, billing, double dabbing on the haters, and I ran into her the, not the other day, that's a bit of an exaggeration, like maybe like a couple months ago, and I hadn't seen her since we graduated high school, and she proceeds to tell me all about how hard college is and how it's so difficult to pay attention and do all these things. So I asked her what type of classes she's taking, and she's telling me that she's taking an art class, and I'm like, oh, that seems pretty fun, and she goes, no, the homework is so hard, and I'm like, well, what's your homework? And she's like, well, I have to paint. And I'm like, well, I mean, what's your major? And she starts talking about how her major is marketing. And I'm like, so why do you have to take an art class that you don't like if you're in marketing? And she goes, well, my dad told me to take the art class. And to be honest, I don't know. I just thought it would be fun, even though I hate it. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe you just don't take it next semester. Maybe don't take it again. And she goes, no, I'm going to take it until I graduate. And I'm like, what? But you hate it. What is the point of that? Taking a class that you hate because your dad told you to? That seems really stupid. I didn't say that. I was just like, oh, okay. But she hadn't changed at all. What I feel bad for is the area I'm from. There's a religious group that gets married really, really young. They're called Mormons. You guys have probably heard of them a little bit. But she got married. That's right, everyone. Somebody saw Gemma and went, I better lock that down for life. I want my kids to have the type of genes to think an island can sink. She has a husband, and from what I saw of him when I was talking to her, he seems like a really nice, upstanding, smart guy. So I don't know how she tricked him into it. Maybe she got pregnant or something. But yeah, he somehow locked it down for life, and I feel horrible. I feel bad for society, though. Like, at one point, there's going to be a kid so stupid that that's his mom, and I just really don't want that day to come. That's going to be the most terrifying thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I am not looking forward to the day where people like that are roaming around, intermingling with all of society. That's a spooky, scary skeleton existence, and humanity is not going to be better off for it. But if you guys enjoyed, I would appreciate you pressing the like button. I have a lot more stories about stupid people I went to school with, so if you want more, feel free to drop a comment down below. I would appreciate it. It helps the video do better, and liking does too. If you're new, subscribe. I tell stories like this every day. We have a great time over here. We all hang out. We all kiss and go mwah, mwah. If you're over 18, though, I mean, if you're not, that's weird. We can't do that. That's illegal. But you guys get the idea. I hope you guys all have an incredible day. My name is Scrubby. Don't get anyone pregnant, and if you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I'll see you soon with another stupid person. There's one more announcement I want to make, but if you guys don't want to watch, like, you can click off now. That's fine. I really want 100,000 followers on Instagram. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm only at like 70K. But with everybody who watches these videos, if you could all go ahead and say, yo, what up? I'm following you on Instagram. I would appreciate it. I really want 100,000 followers, mainly for the clout factor where I can tell everyone that I'm really cool and that I'm dope and that I'm really awesome all the time. I would really appreciate it. Have an incredible day. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're not stupid, and I'll talk to you guys later. I'm out. Peace.
Alright, now this one is just straight up stupid. I don't really cover a whole lot of like true crime stuff, and that's the first place I saw this story was the true crime thing, but the more that comes out, the more I think it becomes a dumb criminal situation. There was this lady that got kidnapped, I'm doing air quotes, and obviously the United States doesn't like people being kidnapped, so they started a frantic manhunt. She had kids, her husband was on TV being like, I want my wife to come home. Come to find out, she had just faked her kidnapping to get back with her ex-boyfriend. Nothing says true love like faking a kidnapping and leaving your kids to get back with your ex. She faked her kidnapping to go back to her ex. Now she'll get 18 months in prison. I don't know what this lady was going through, alright, but I feel like leaving your husband and your kids to go back to your ex is already messed up, but it is less messed up than faking being kidnapped and just convincing your former family that, like, you got yeeted into oblivion and they've always got to wonder what happened. If you don't want to be with the guy you have kids with anymore, then, like, I don't know, you can just not be with him. Sure, it would make things awkward, but I feel like faking your kidnapping is way more complicated than just ending things. If you're unhappy enough to start faking your kidnapping and faking your death, it's time to go, dude. When you go this far, though, yeah, you deserve some time in jail. Think about all the stuff you put your family through, but also all the wasted resources. The FBI was out looking for this lady that got apparently kidnapped when come to find out she's just hanging out with her boyfriend. How much money do you think they wasted on stuff just trying to find her? Like, if they had helicopters out looking, all the fuel, all the time that they could have been searching for somebody else. Imagine being somebody else that went missing when all this was going down and all the resources were being focused on this case. Meanwhile, you're like in the trunk of a car. It'll be okay. They'll come looking. A Northern California mother of two was sentenced Monday to 18 months in prison for faking her kidnapping so she could go back to a former boyfriend, which led to a 3-week multi-state search before she resurfaced on Thanksgiving Day in 2016. Sherry Papini, 40, pled guilty last spring to staging the abduction and lying to the FBI about it. As part of a plea bargain, she's required to pay more than $300,000 in restitution. I don't get why you would fake your kidnapping. I don't get why you would think it's a good idea to fake something like that, but I especially don't understand why you would try to keep the lie going when it's gotten so out of control and the FBI is involved. Like, once the FBI has apparently rescued you from your kidnapper and they start asking you questions, it's probably time to just come clean. Because, yeah, the second you start lying to the FBI, they're going to look into it, and they don't like when you try to make them look stupid. I also love that she just came back home, you know, all this time spent practicing for her fake kidnapping, setting up to go to her boyfriend. For 3 weeks, dude, just coming back home thinking everything was going to be back to normal. Your husband, your kids, everything was just going to be like, oh, wow, so glad you're back. We're not going to ask any questions about what happened. No one in your community was going to ask any follow-up questions. The guy that you left and faked this huge kidnapping to be with is never going to talk. I'm sure when they start looking into where you were and they see that you were with him, they're gonna show up to his house and be like, hey, why did you kidnap this lady? And I don't think he's gonna have your back. He's probably very quickly gonna sell you out and be like, she came to my house completely willingly. There was no kidnapping involved. I just thought she was coming to hang out. I didn't even realize she was telling people she was kidnapped. That took me for a loop, to say the least. I was not expecting that. Probation officers and Papini's attorney had recommended that she spend a month in custody and 7 months in supervised home detention, while prosecutors wanted her to serve the 8 months behind bars. But senior U.S. Judge William Stubbs, said that he opted for an 18-month sentence in order to deter others. The judge said he considered the seriousness of the offense and the sheer number of people who were impacted. It included law enforcement officers who searched for her, the community that believed her for 4 years, those who lived in fear because of her story being abducted by 2 Hispanic women, and the Latino community that was falsely viewed with suspicion. 4 years? 4 years she kept this up? I'm not too familiar with this. I don't know why everything started unraveling, but like, she probably thought she had gotten away with it too. Oh yeah, 4 years ago I faked my kidnapping. I don't know what happened, but given the way 2022 has been going, I wouldn't be surprised if she made a TikTok about how she faked her kidnapping and it went viral. Everyone started realizing, wait a second, you faked your kidnapping? That's kind of bizarre. I just feel like this entire story could have been prevented with a little bit of follow through and thinking through what was going to happen. All right, I'm going to go missing. I'm going to convince my caring family that loves me that I've been kidnapped. They are going to do nothing and just let me be gone? Of course they're going to call the cops. Of course it's not normal for a mother of 2 to just go missing and abandon her kids. No one would think that was what was going on here. Obviously, they were going to assume there was some foul play involved. At least from what I've seen, most people aren't out there abandoning their kids all willy-nilly. Now that she's back, that's gotta be a really awkward relationship with the kids that she was supposed to be with, you know? Hey kids, what's up? Mom, we don't really want to talk to you. Ever since you faked being kidnapped to get away from us because you find us boring, we just haven't really felt that same level of support. I don't know if that's actually what happened, but still, I would be pissed if I was a little kid and my mom faked being kidnapped and was gone for a while. Tries to come back all, what's up guys? I'd be like, no, we don't mess with the fake kidnapping, alright? Papini has never given a rational explanation for her behavior, which included months of careful planning before she disappeared and temporarily abandoned her children who are most precious to her, Portanova said. Her actions stumped even independent mental health experts who said they didn't conform with typical diagnoses. Portanova blamed it on what sounded like a fear storm that was going on for a long time inside her head, but she is now a changed woman. Well, I hope she's changed if this is all that happened. Like, if you fake being kidnapped once, it's already nuts. But if you go through everything, get 18 months in prison, become like the pariah of your town because everyone realizes you faked your kidnapping, hopefully you look around and go, alright, some things gotta change. I would be way more concerned if they were more like, I don't know why everyone's so upset. My acting was so impeccable, I had the FBI fooled for 4 years. Yeah, they're probably feeling sorry now. Oh man, how embarrassing. Months of careful planning. So for months, every day, you were thinking about faking being kidnapped. And at no point did the thought of, hey, this is a really stupid idea, I shouldn't do this, pop into your head. That's what I don't understand about stuff that's very well, like, planned out. If it's just spur of the moment or whatever, it's still moronic, but at least you didn't think it through. You put months of planning into a really stupid idea, and it's just worse because it's like, man, you really put a lot of thought and effort into this thing that makes no sense, and still did it. How much brain power did you have to put in this, not realizing it was a good idea? Because it's apparent to everyone. I feel like 99% of people listening to this right now would have been able to predict that if you fake a kidnapping, the authorities will get involved, and they will find out, and they're not going to be very thrilled with you. I don't think like the FBI was ever going to find out you faked the kidnapping and you were going to put up your arms and go, oopsies, and they were going to be like, oh, Sherry. Alright, so this might be one of my corniest opinions, but I feel like family is pretty important. I'm not saying you have to like all your family members, alright? There's a few of my family members that are absolutely bonkers that I want nothing to do with. But overall, like, I don't know, especially the direct people that you live with, it's probably important to make sure those relationships are, like, somewhat functional, you know? Especially if you're talking about your kids, your wife. I don't have either of those, but, like, yeah, you should probably be on good terms with your wife and kids. Otherwise, life's probably not going the way it's supposed to. I'm not speaking from, like, I don't know anything about it. I'm just assuming, all right? Some angry, like, single man in the comments right now is just like, you idiot, you don't understand. My wife ruined it. Like, it's just freaking out. I'm sorry, bro. I don't know. I'm just saying. This story's weird. Lottery winner dons mascot costume to hide jackpot from family. Man, he really said, okay, I just won the lottery. I'm about $40 million richer. The last thing I would want is for my kids, my wife, my mom, my dad to know that I've won any money because then they would expect some of it. So I'm just going to borrow the mascot costume from the local basketball team and head on over to the lottery office and we're good to go. I would love to know where he found a mascot costume on such short notice. Maybe he had one custom made. He's like, whatever, I won $40 million. What's a custom mascot costume? Or did he just go to like a local sports team and ask to borrow it? That would just be so funny. He just walks into the office. They're like, can I help you, sir? Yeah, I need to borrow your mascot costume. I just won $40 million. Really not trying to have anyone, especially my family, see me. It's understandable to not want people to know you won the lottery. Like, I think hiding your identity if you won $50 million makes sense. It's just very funny that he went out of his way to say it's from his family. Like, you would think it would be more like, I don't want every person who lives in this town to know that I just won a crap ton of money. Who wants every person they interact with to, like, just know that you won $40 million? Probably not a lot of people. So it makes sense that you would want to hide from that, but he really went out of his way to tell this news company, like, nah, my family doesn't need to know. A lottery winner in China donned a mascot costume to claim his $30 million lottery prize in order to keep his wife and children from finding out. The welfare lottery, said the man, identified only by the pseudonym Lee, said he'd been playing the lottery for about 10 years and normally uses the numbers 2, 15, 19, 26, 27, 29, 02. I just felt like the opening menu from Black Ops. The numbers, Mason, what do they mean? If you use these, you'll win 30 million at some point, pal. Remember those numbers. I love that he's been playing it for 10 years and he's still deciding to hide it from his family, which means like his family knows that he plays the lottery, I'm guessing, if he's been doing it for 10 years. And I'm sure they've talked about what they would do with the winnings and whatnot, and maybe that's why he's like, yeah, I'm not gonna tell them. He's over here like, I'm gonna invest it all, and his kid's like, I'm gonna buy 50 gaming computers to play 50 games of Fortnite at one time. I feel like keeping that a secret from your wife is like, I don't know, man. I feel like that's going to be a bad idea, and it is a bad idea. Because, like, that's your partner, you know? You guys are kind of committed till death do you part type of situation. What's mine is ours. So I don't know how she'll take the fact that you were hiding a $30 million jackpot. But I can understand why you don't want your kids, especially if they're, like, teenagers, to know that you have all this money because you don't want them to become entitled. But it also is funny that he's been playing for 10 years, so he's thought about this a lot. So, like, he's thought this through many times, and in every time he's thought through this scenario, he's like, I can't tell my family because they're gonna find a way to blow this. Lee showed up to collect his prize wearing a bright yellow cartoon mascot costume. He said he wanted to keep his jackpot a secret from his family. I have not told my wife or children. I'm concerned they might feel superior to other people and will not work or study hard in the future. He donated some of his winnings to a lottery fund that supports vulnerable communities in China. He said he does not yet have plans for the rest of the money. Like I said, I get not telling the kids, but I promise you that not telling your wife about this is going to backfire. Because she's going to find out. Like, there's no way she's not going to check the bank account one day and notice $30 million. And then it's a whole, why did you keep this from me in the first place thing. I don't know. I get the kids, though. Like, if you told like a 12-year-old that he had $30 million, he'd probably start acting like the most Minecraft Fortnite kid imaginable. I've never been in that situation, so I'm not sure, but I just feel like if you told someone that they had unlimited money and didn't have to work hard at a young age, they probably would not do it. That seems like pretty common sense. It's just so funny that he got a mascot costume. Like, I just feel like that's such a weird thing to go out of your way to get to disguise yourself. It's not like a ski mask or, I don't know, a Halloween mask or like just a horror movie mask. Like, I feel like a mascot costume seems like it would be so much harder to get than other things that can cover your face. Heck, man, just get some like camouflage face paint, do a really nice blend. You can hunt deer right after or whatever you want to do. I love that he doesn't really know what to do with it, but he's going to donate some of it. It means at least he's going to like put some of it to a good cause. And I'm sure you don't want to get too invested if you're playing the lottery. I don't play the lottery, but it's not like you want to start spending the $30 million before you have it and get insanely depressed every time you don't win. Either way, I just thought it was funny that he's like trying to hide this lottery winning from his family. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And we're back with another episode of Ryan's Rants, the podcast that was very consistent, okay? And then I had to do some reorganizing around my office and whatnot, and it was like just the thing that made the most sense to do less because I had to do other things more. But it's back now, and hopefully I don't get busy again for a while. So Ryan Rants is back on the menu. I've got some great stories for everyone today. But before we get into it, be sure to press the like button if you're hyped that it's back and comment down below. Otherwise, no joke, no scam, I will just fight you, and let's go. Alright, so growing up, I was a pretty big Pokemon fan, you know, more of like the video games and the cards than the show itself. I'm not saying the show is bad, I just wasn't like crazy into it. I did watch it, but it's not like I was some diehard. And one thing that always really bugged me is how every season Ash would lose. Like, it started to piss me off. It's like, dude, you've been a Pokemon trainer for 20 years and you can't win anything. You've made friends with like every legendary Pokemon and you still can't win. And honestly, approaching like 30 years now, I just thought the guy was never going to be a winner, but it looks like the writers over at the television department decided to toss him a bone and make him a champion. Pokemon's Ash Ketchum becomes world's top trainer after 25 years. Yeah, he's been at it for a little bit, you know. It just goes to show you that if you stay persistent, you too can wander the world living out of your backpack for 25 years to finally win a championship. Hey, a championship's a championship, you know? I'm just saying, 25 years, bro. The stacked lineups that Ash has had as Pokemon before. Think about if he would have just, like, kept one unit of 6 Pokemon for 25 years. Those Pokemon would be so unbelievably cracked. They would be unbeatable. But no, homie really likes to just switch it up and start over every 6 months. Maybe that's why you haven't won a championship, bro. You're always working with a new team. I'm not trying to be a hater. I just think it's so funny, dude, that it took him 25 years, all right? And I get it. The TV show's not going to try to end itself. They're like, look, we've got something that's kind of printing money here. If we just keep making episodes, we'll keep making money. Pokemon, I think, is literally the most profitable franchise in the world, like on a yearly basis, something like that. Don't quote me on that. I'm an idiot. But you get what I'm saying. They're a stupid profitable franchise, so why not just keeping making television, milling television? I don't know what I was trying to say. And on top of it, even if Ash is a champion now, like, people are still gonna watch the show. I just feel like I don't watch it anymore, you know? But I feel like at this point, Pokemon is just something that people know about and, like, people just all are aware of. So I don't think finding an audience for this show is going to be an issue. I don't really watch it anymore, you know? I don't really watch a whole lot of TV anymore. I haven't watched it since I was probably like 12, if not younger, probably younger. No offense, it's just not my ginormous cup of tea, especially because Ash was such a pathetic loser. For decades, we've watched the eternal 10-year-old Pokemon trainer traveling far and wide in a bid to win as many championships as he can, and of course, trying to catch them all. In 2019, we saw him win the Alola region Pokemon League in the 6th season of Pokemon Sun and Moon, allowing him to ascend to the rank of Pokemon Master. Now, he's achieved the ultimate goal. Alongside Pikachu, he's won the Masters 8 tournament of the Pokemon World Coronation Series, making him the top trainer for the first time. Alright, I know we were just making fun of him for being a loser for 25 years, but like, can we talk about how crappy Ash's parents are real quick? He's 10. They just let their 10-year-old walk around wandering the world by himself because he has an electric rat. I love Pikachu. That's literally, he's a mouse Pokemon. He's a rat. They are letting their 10-year-old wander the world unsupervised with a rat. No wonder it took him 25 years to figure stuff out, bro. Imagine being 10, just dropped off in the wilderness. Good luck, honey. Become a Pokemon master or don't come home. I know it's like not really like that in the show, but really think about that. He was 10 and his mom was just like, all right, go do Pokemon stuff. Just get out of here. He deserves the championship for going through that alone, you know? He's like, I've literally spent my entire life about this. I dropped out of school when I was 10 to become a Pokemon master. It's no wonder Ash is still having problems understanding simple concepts. He dropped out of school in like the 3rd grade, dude, to go chase Pokemon. Who signed off on this? Who was like, yeah, no, just let him go wander the woods by himself? Who needs school? Who needs to know math if you're just like a really cool Pokemon trainer guy? It's not like you need to know how to invest all those earnings you're gonna make off being Pokemon Master, blow it all on Pokeballs. There's no such thing as investments. Alright, that's enough hating on Ash Ketchum. Alright, so this might be one of my corniest opinions, but I feel like family is pretty important. I'm not saying you have to like all your family members, alright? There's a few of my family members that are absolutely bonkers that I want nothing to do with. But overall, like, I don't know, especially the direct people that you live with, it's probably important to make sure those relationships are, like, somewhat functional, you know, especially if you're talking about your kids, your wife. I don't have either of those, but, like, yeah, you should probably be on good terms with your wife and kids. Otherwise, life's probably not going the way it's supposed to. I'm not speaking from, like, I don't know anything about it. I'm just assuming, all right? Some angry, like, single man in the comments right now is just like, you idiot, you don't understand. My wife ruined it. Like, it's just freaking out. I'm sorry, bro. I don't know. I'm just saying. This story's weird. Lottery winner dons mascot costume to hide jackpot from family. Man, he really said, okay, I just won the lottery. I'm about $40 million richer. The last thing I would want is for my kids, my wife, my mom, my dad to know that I've won any money because then they would expect some of it. So I'm just going to borrow the mascot costume from the local basketball team and head on over to the lottery office and we're good to go. I would love to know where he found a mascot costume on such short notice. Maybe he had one custom made. He's like, whatever, I won $40 million. What's a custom mascot costume? Or did he just go to like a local sports team and ask to borrow it? That would just be so funny. He just walks into the office. They're like, can I help you, sir? Yeah, I need to borrow your mascot costume. I just won $40 million. Really not trying to have anyone, especially my family, see me. It's understandable to not want people to know you won the lottery. Like, I think hiding your identity if you won $50 million makes sense. It's just very funny that he went out of his way to say it's from his family. Like, you would think it would be more like, I don't want every person who lives in this town to know that I just won a crap ton of money. Who wants every person they interact with to like just know that you won $40 million? Probably not a lot of people. So it makes sense that you would want to hide from that, but he really went out of his way to tell this news company, like, nah, my family doesn't need to know. A lottery winner in China donned a mascot costume to claim his $30 million lottery prize in order to keep his wife and children from finding out. The welfare lottery, said the man, identified only by the pseudonym Lee, said he'd been playing the lottery for about 10 years and normally uses the numbers 2, 15, 19, 26, 27, 29, 02. I just felt like the opening menu from Black Ops. The numbers, Mason, what do they mean? If you use these, you'll win 30 million at some point, pal. Remember those numbers. I love that he's been playing it for 10 years and he's still deciding to hide it from his family, which means like his family knows that he plays the lottery, I'm guessing, if he's been doing it for 10 years. And I'm sure they've talked about what they would do with the winnings and whatnot, and maybe that's why he's like, yeah, I'm not gonna tell them. He's over here like, I'm gonna invest it all, and his kid's like, I'm gonna buy 50 gaming computers to play 50 games of Fortnite at one time. I feel like keeping that a secret from your wife is like, I don't know, man. I feel like that's going to be a bad idea, and it is a bad idea. Because, like, that's your partner, you know? You guys are kind of committed till death do you part type of situation. What's mine is ours. So I don't know how she'll take the fact that you were hiding a $30 million jackpot. But I can understand why you don't want your kids, especially if they're, like, teenagers, to know that you have all this money because you don't want them to become entitled. But it also is funny that he's been playing for 10 years, so he's thought about this a lot. So, like, he's thought this through many times, and in every time he's thought through this scenario, he's like, I can't tell my family because they're gonna find a way to blow this. Lee showed up to collect his prize wearing a bright yellow cartoon mascot costume. He said he wanted to keep his jackpot a secret from his family. I have not told my wife or children. I'm concerned they might feel superior to other people and will not work or study hard in the future. He donated some of his winnings to a lottery fund that supports vulnerable communities in China. He said he does not yet have plans for the rest of the money. Like I said, I get not telling the kids, but I promise you that not telling your wife about this is going to backfire. Because she's going to find out. Like, there's no way she's not going to check the bank account one day and notice $30 million. And then it's a whole, why did you keep this from me in the first place thing. I don't know. I get the kids, though. Like, if you told like a 12-year-old that he had $30 million, he'd probably start acting like the most Minecraft Fortnite kid imaginable. I've never been in that situation, so I'm not sure, but I just feel like if you told someone that they had unlimited money and didn't have to work hard at a young age, they probably would not do it. That seems like pretty common sense. It's just so funny that he got a mascot costume. Like, I just feel like that's such a weird thing to go out of your way to get to disguise yourself. It's not like a ski mask or, I don't know, a Halloween mask or like just a horror movie mask. Like, I feel like a mascot costume seems like it would be so much harder to get than other things that can cover your face. Heck, man, just get some like camouflage face paint, do a really nice blend. You can hunt deer right after or whatever you want to do. I love that he doesn't really know what to do with it, but he's going to donate some of it. It means at least he's going to like put some of it to a good cause. And I'm sure you don't want to get too invested if you're playing the lottery. I don't play the lottery, but it's not like you want to start spending the $30 million before you have it and get insanely depressed every time you don't win. Either way, I just thought it was funny that he's like trying to hide this lottery winning from his family. All right, so next up, I wanted to talk about the crypto world a little bit. For those of you that like aren't aware of how trading crypto works, which is buying and selling it's how you tend to make money. You have to do it on something called an exchange because there has to be a person to like buy what you're selling and vice versa. If you want to buy something, there has to be someone selling to you. And so all these exchanges popped up during this like huge crypto boom. And a lot of people were just keeping their cryptocurrency on those exchanges because it like wasn't worth it to pull it off and on if they were trading every day. And I don't think that's the smartest idea. That just is what a lot of people were doing. And a lot of these cryptocurrency exchanges have been like going bankrupt, having huge issues, not allowing people to withdraw all their funds. It's been a crap show. And one of the biggest ones was FTX, which like up until about a week ago was known as one of the better exchanges, one of the best actually. Yeah, now they're going bankrupt and they're starting to like place holds on all these withdrawals and it looks like they're about $8 billion shorts on their books. It's not a very good situation. But it got even worse, because not only did they declare Chapter 11 bankruptcy earlier this week, but last night they got hacked and like $500 million got stolen, on top of them already declaring bankruptcy and being short $8 billion. FTX says it's removing trading and withdrawals and moving digital assets to a cold wallet after a $477 million suspected hack. So not only was there like already a bunch of issues, but if you still had crypto or money on there for some reason, this absolutely sucks, because it seems like you're probably just locked out now until they figure out what's going on. I don't know how these crypto exchanges like don't manage to have some of the best security in the world. From what I understand from some videos I've watched, I'm not an expert, FTX was making like, not in profit, but in terms of revenue, over $10 million a day in revenue. If you have that much business going through your business every single day, it's probably worth it to invest very heftily in security. Because it's nuts that one person can hack into these companies and walk away with $500 million. Like, is there really no fail-safe if there's not like a two-factor code or something that can't be spoofed? It's not like a nuclear launch button where two people have to stick the keys in and turn them at the same time to withdraw anything over $100 million. I just feel like it's nuts that there's not a lot of safeguards. And I'm sure there are safeguards. I'm not saying the hacker's not talented. Clearly, he hacked into a multi-billion-dollar company. He's way smarter than I would ever be at it. But it's nuts that a company this size can't prevent that. That's what's absolutely bonkers to me. You know people are going to try. If you're a crypto exchange, people are going to try to hack you. It happens to all of them. So I just don't understand why that's not like priority number one for every single crypto exchange. Because it seems like more often than not when we're talking about these stories and they start to go insolvent, someone somewhere takes a bunch of money and like fakes their death or whatever. John Ray, FTX's new CEO and chief restructuring officer, said the bankrupt crypto exchange is in the process of removing trading and withdrawal functionality, and it's moving as many digital assets as can be identified to a new cold wallet custodian. And that's according to a statement tweeted by the company's general counsel, Ryan Miller. The announcement comes as the failed exchange investigates what it's calling unauthorized transactions that began within hours of FTX filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in the United States. It's crazy how fast all of this went down. Basically, it all started when FTX was starting to run into some troubles, with liquidity, which is just the ability for people to take out their money and provide the current amount of currency. Not current amount of currency, the amount of currency needed to facilitate those transactions. And there were some rumors that they were starting to have issues, which raised some alarm bells. And so a lot of the more savvy investors that were aware of all these bankruptcies that were going down went in and withdrew their money. Well, that doesn't necessarily help liquidity. And so the rumors started to spiral more, and then they admitted that they were having problems. And one of the other biggest crypto exchanges, Binance, was like, hey, maybe we'll be able to work something out and buy you out. They announced that that was going to be the plan. A few days after that, or maybe not even a few days, maybe a day after that, they come out and they're like, yeah, after investigating what's going on, we're not going to be able to do anything about this because it's just out of control. And after that, it's been a downward spiral, and they ended up declaring bankruptcy. And up to 2 weeks ago, before all this went down, the founder of this company was going around being like, I'm the world's most charitable billionaire. Which, listen, I'm not saying that every single billionaire is a Batman evil villain, but I'm just gonna throw it out there that the more somebody has to go around and be like, look at how awesome and good I am, there's usually something that they don't really necessarily want people to know about and be looking into, and it might be the fact that your giant crypto exchange doesn't have liquidity and is running into a bunch of monetary problems. But as long as you're known as the charitable billionaire guy, it's well, these things happen. Come on, he's so nice. And I'm not going to accuse him of doing that because I'm an idiot talking over Bloons Tower Defense gameplay, and you should take none of this seriously. None of this is a serious accusation. I'm just talking out of my butt. But it is interesting how he tried to come out on YouTube and be like, I'm just the nicest billionaire that's ever existed. And then all of a sudden his company's bankrupt, and it's looking like there's going to be a lot of people that just can't take their money out, especially after this hack if they're going to lock withdrawals. And I don't know if all of this was just like a house of cards that happened to fall apart. Nobody knows yet. There's so much up in the air. I think anyone that claims to know the entire story at this point is lying. I'm just keeping you guys up to date on what I've tried to understand so far. I'm not like an expert. I just think this is very interesting. The new FTX chief said the exchange is coordinating with law enforcement and relevant regulators about the breach, and it's making every effort to secure all assets globally. Miller, FTX's general counsel, said the decision to push digital assets into cold storage was meant to mitigate damage upon observing unauthorized transactions. People who choose to hold their own cryptocurrency can stole it, haha, get it because it got hacked, hot or cold or a combination of the two. A hot wallet is connected to the internet and allows owners relatively easy access to their coins so they can access and spend their crypto, whereas cold storage generally refers to crypto stored in wallets whose private keys are not connected to the internet. The trade-off for convenience with hot storage is potential exposure to bad actors. I'm not a crypto guru, I'm not a stock guru either, that's what I pay more attention to. But I can say even I have realized at this point that if you're going to have crypto, cold storage is really the only way to go. Because it seems like every other week there's an exchange somewhere that gets hacked for like $30 million. And because crypto isn't insanely regulated yet, there's not a whole lot of like regulations on what happens in that scenario. Sometimes the exchanges are like, yeah, we'll cover it. Sometimes they steal too much and they can't. A bank, most banks, a credible bank has like an FDIC insurance on it, which basically means that if that bank goes out of business, the federal government will give you up to $250,000 from like what you have in that bank. So if a bank's being dumb and over leverages and goes bankrupt, like the government will come in and give you what you have in the bank. So unless you have a ton of money there, you'll get your money back. These crypto exchanges are not regulated at all, and most investment products don't have FDIC insurance, Like, I don't think most brokerage accounts do, but still, if you're going to be holding your crypto in a savings account on one of these exchanges, the idea is it should be in a place where, like, it's not easily accessible. People can't take it. And apparently, once again, I'm not an expert. This is just from other people that are smarter than me I've heard explaining this. What a lot of these exchanges have started to do is take that like capital that's supposed to be sitting in those savings account and start trying to leverage it so they can make more money. In order to do that, the wallet has to be easily accessible, so all of these like funds that people are thinking are safely stored somewhere are really in a hot wallet, so if someone gets in and hacks you, they can just drain you. And I'm not a crypto expert, that's just what I've understood from listening to smarter people explain it. It's nuts that all of this is going down back to back to back, though. It's like this company could not get any more wombo comboed by A, having the liquidity crisis, having someone say they're going to step in and then have to back away, because it's so screwed up that there's no way they're going to be able to fix it. And the company that stepped in is kind of known for, like, being the guy who comes in and saves the day whenever things go sideways like this, so if even they were backing away, you know it has to be bad. And I don't know, it's just a crapshoot. And it's also coming over to like the financial side of YouTube, because a ton of the biggest financial YouTubers were sponsored by this company. And there's a huge question of like, you told your audience to put your money there. So are you even capable of calling yourself a financial expert? I don't have a horse in that race. I'm too dumb. You know, I have my opinions, but my opinions on it are not as smart as other people's. So I'm gonna keep them to myself on that front. The only thing I'll say about it, anyone that's making money to give you financial advice, you should probably think a little bit more about whether that advice is being given because it's good advice or because there's a potential for them to make money. Business is business, you know? People aren't going to like do a bunch of stuff for free. So you always have to question like what is the profit motive for somebody. And some of these YouTubers don't care about whether or not you lose money as long as they get the bag. That sucks, but you just gotta be aware of it and just think twice before you invest in anything. Alright, so I don't know if I've talked about this on the channel before, but if you're an internet person, you've probably heard of it. There's this Twitter account that like tracks private jets of celebrities and super rich people because their like planes are registered and you can track where they're going. And they really do not like it. Believe it or not, billionaires don't like people knowing where they're going, especially when it's, Russian oligarchs getting out of Russia or people taking 6-minute flights that are like ridiculous uses of a jet. I mean, yes, it's their jet. They can do what they want. But if you can drive there in under 30 minutes, if you can drive there in under an hour, let's be honest, you probably should not fly there. There's no way it's that worthwhile. I can understand maybe you got a meeting, bro, but like even then, just leave earlier. You don't need to fly your jet to go get groceries. Anyways, a lot of them are trying to figure out ways around this, and I guess the world's second richest man actually ended up selling the private jet that he had because he hated the fact that it was tracked. World's second richest man sells private jet after Twitter activists track every flight. I love how honest this guy was about it, though. Like, even in this article, they're kind of like, well, what ended up happening? And he's like, yeah, I didn't like people on Twitter talking about where I was going and what I was doing, so I just sold my jet. Just billionaire problems, when you have like a multi-8-figure asset that you just have to sell because people are being annoying and want to know where you are all the time. And what's hilarious is, like, I don't know, this article's not trying to spin it as a win, but if you think this guy's not just gonna get another jet and keep it secret, or like buy an LLC in someone else's name and then buy a jet, like, he's worth $100 billion. I'm sure there's ways when you have that much money to hide where your jet is. I'm not saying it should be that way. Oh, you think it's I'm not saying it's fair. I'm just saying you're delusional if you think $140 billion isn't enough money to buy a plane that's not registered back to him and impossible to track. The billionaire's company has sold its private jet after a social media account started tracing his flights and tallying his carbon emissions. Indeed, with all these stories, the group had a plane and we sold it. Arnault told France Radio's Classique. I don't speak French, so I probably said that wrong. He's honest. You gotta give him that. Even if you're gonna give him nothing else. He's just on the radio like, yeah, dude, these people were so annoying on Twitter. So, toss that plane in the sell bin. No thank you, okay? I'm not trying to be told on Twitter where I'm supposed to fly. I'm gonna do what I want. Seriously, I feel like, I don't know if it's better or worse when billionaires, like, pretend that they're super nice guys or when they're just mask off about, like, I'm just gonna do what I want, I don't care. Which one is better? Is it better to have a guy that's like, yeah, I'm gonna fly my private jet, I don't care how much emissions it has, because at least then you know the situation. You can't say that he's, like, trying to pull one over on you. Versus someone that's like, no, I'm such a nice guy. I love the polar bears. Meanwhile, his company is like using penguins to like test medical equipment or whatever. I don't know. I just feel like it really goes one of two ways for some reason. There's very few billionaires that I could think of that don't go one way or the other. And I'm not saying this guy is as evil of a company like using penguins for medical equipment. Obviously, I'm just being dramatic. The result now is no one can see where I go because I rent planes when I use private planes, and unfortunately, these rented, polluting charter jets will guzzle fossil fuels. Okay, alright, I'm not saying that it's funny that he's going to keep flying these private jets everywhere, alright? But it is kind of funny that they're like, yeah, we're gonna show him who's boss, we're gonna track everything on Twitter. He's like, alright, I sold my plane, and now I just rent them, so you can't track me, and you know what? I'm gonna just fly in circles above my mansion today to piss everybody off. I'm not saying that that's nice for the environment. I'm not saying he should do it. But on a pure, like, looking at life from a sitcom level, if you extrapolate this and turn it into a TV show, that is hilarious. Not in the way that, like, you should look up to the person, but it's almost impressive how petty he was open about being. This guy's got $140 billion. He doesn't have to come on the radio and say, screw you guys, you pissed me off and now I rent planes and you'll never see me again. He doesn't have to do that. Like, he could just go to his giant mansion. But no, he's petty enough to just hop on here and be like, yeah, I just rent them now and you guys are dumb and I'm gonna keep flying in jets. It's just such like a honest thing to say. I don't know. Maybe it's different in Europe, but I feel like here people are so like PR focused. This is straight up something you would see in a comedy movie. This doesn't sound like reality. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing it. I don't care. All right, we're going to keep with the theme of trolling with planes because this one also cracked me up. We all know there's a little bit of a situation going on in Russia right now in Ukraine, and that is not a funny situation. However, the state of Russia's military has been hilarious. They're falling apart. They're like getting their butt kicked by a military 1/5 the size. They're handing people rusted machinery. And on top of it, like, countries keep joining NATO. We have more troops there than we've had in a long time. Basically, their entire plan backfired. And we've been running missions, like, over the top of not their territory, but nearby, so we can get surveillance and, like, satellite images and stuff. And I guess some pilots decided that they would just do a little trolling. And it's not necessarily funny when you start thinking about the fact it could escalate in a nuclear war. But on a purely, you and your bro are flying a plane and you have this idea, it's kind of funny. U.S. Air Force flight spent 2 hours drawing a phallic pattern in the air near Russian military facilities. Like I said, okay, is it maybe the smartest idea to do in a military airspace? No. However, it is kind of funny to think about Russia just getting pissed off at the fact that we're flying over the top, like just doing shapes on the radar. Imagine being the guy in Russia in charge of tracking, like, all the U.S. military planes, you know. Sir, there's one doing circles. What could it be doing? Pull it up. Let's see where it was for the last hour. You pull it up, and you're all looking at it, and you're like, oh, I don't know. It kind of looks a little bit like it's shaped like, we all know what it is. Don't say it out loud. They're trolling us. A U.S. military plane painted a PP in the sky near a Russian airbase. A KC-135 Stratotanker refueling plane remained for almost 2 hours east of Cyprus on Tuesday in front of the Syrian base of Tartus, a stronghold of Moscow, and you can see it there on the little thing. So I guess it was more towards Syria, not Ukraine. I'm stupid. Still funny, either way. If anything, it makes it even more funny, because it's not like it was in the crazy war zone where there's the potential for really kicking off in a nuclear war. They were just trolling them down there, which is still a serious conflict. I'm not trying to say it's not serious, but I don't know. I feel like NATO has made it very clear how quick they're going to press the nuke button if anyone gets involved in Ukraine. They have not said the same for drawing phallic symbols on the satellite outside of Syria. I just don't really understand how stuff like this gets, like, publicized so quickly. I understand a lot of it's probably public, but I'm sure the military has ways to hide this if they want. Does that mean that they wanted this to be out there? Like, do you think this was kind of a part of the mission? Get out there and troll them. They need to know that we're not messing around. U.S. military pilots encountered tense run-ins with Russian aircraft over the eastern Mediterranean before, such as when the Pentagon said in February 3 U.S. naval aircraft experienced unprofessional intercepts by Russian aircraft. It's unclear if the Stratotanker's flight pattern was intentionally made to resemble a phallus. The Stratotanker also flew near Cyprus and Lebanon on Tuesday. Hey, I'll give the article credit. At least it's trying to spin it. It's unclear if it was intentional. I mean, if you just look at the satellite image, there's no way that that was an accident. I'm sorry. I refuse to believe that that just happened completely on accident. And especially, you got to consider, like, that's 2 hours that they spend flying this pattern. You're telling me over the course of 2 hours, they wouldn't have looked down and noticed? If anything, maybe it didn't start off that way. Like, maybe that wasn't its intention, but they start doing, like, half of it, and they're just looking at it, and they're like, well, we have to finish drawing it now, because it's already half done. I don't know. Either way, I'm not too upset about the trolling. I think it's pretty funny. Anyways, guys, I think that's going to do it for this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you're happy it's back, please be sure to press the like button, comment down below. Like I said, it really does help the video do better, and I will be consistently doing these weekly again. I appreciate all the support. You guys are absolute G's, and if you haven't seen some of the other episodes, feel free to go click on those. And yeah, on that note, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I'll see each and every single one of you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.